for today.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ETN, Europe's favourite technology show.
The only technology show.
The only technology show you need. The only new media technology show that you need. Today is Tuesday. It's the 20th of January. It's the day after Blue Monday, which I found out the other day is the most depressing day of the year, which also fell on my birthday. So my birthday was the most depressing day of the year. For
Nice fact.
So
you didn't tell me that this morning. So you've been waiting to tell.
I've had that in the back of the locker all day, and I haven't mentioned it to anyone.
I've been with you since 8 this morning.
I thought I'd open
and you haven't told me.
Yeah. So that's. I found that out the other day. I was talking to someone. You know when like they're talking to you, and it's someone who is close enough to have wished you happy birthday, but they haven't done it yet, and you're about you're a few minutes into the conversation. And then they kind of realize live during the conversation that they've not done it. And you see it on their face that they've not said it. But
hey, the game's the game.
Yeah, most depressing day of the year is my birthday. So that's a good way to kick off the year.
But
anyway, enough about that. We've got a crazy roster today. We've also got some crazy news.
Crazy news, crazy roster. It's good. I'm just doing the X post, so bear with me. Sorry for looking at that.
We're going to bear with him. Whilst he's doing that, let me tell you about our friends over there at Airwallex. I want you all, every single one of you, to leave outdated business banking behind. Do it with Airwallex. The all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern businesses. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments. And it's all-in-one platform. Go to airwallex.com. This card that you see before us was gifted to us by Airwallex. They are the sponsors of McLaren F1.
Awesome stuff. We have a mad order of play. Before we do that, let's just do the roster of order of play.
Okay, but I want to get these things on the show. Right,
so 11 till 12, we're going to be chatting about all the stories and all of that kind of stuff. It's going to be good. Then 12 p.m. we have Ed Moore. He is the Chief Revenue Officer at Payrails, massive company. You got them in. Do you want to give a bit of a bio?
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So Ed is the Chief Revenue Officer, previously at Stripe, was also at Microsoft for 15 years.
He was on the board at Stripe.
He was on the board of Stripe. So he spent his whole career building, scaling monoliths, basically. And then took a move over to Payrails. So we're gonna jump into him and talk a bit more about the payment space, which can be fun.
And then at 12:30 we have Siavash Gorbani. He is the co-founder of Stiller. They have publicly released it today. So exclusive, I guess, 2 hours post-release. They're going to be talking. You've seen a demo of the product. You said it was nuts.
Yeah, so let me tell you a little bit about Siavash. Siavash is a beast. I first met Siavash
the beast.
When he was an advisor for Convergence, my previous company. And a little bit about Siavash's background. So he co-founded a company called Ticktail. Him and his co-founder scaled that and were acquired by Shopify for I think something like 18 or 17 million. Then he worked at Shopify as VP of engineering, like director first, then was VP globally. He's also an advisor to Synthesia, and Stiller raised, was it 5 million from General Catalyst? We can ask him about the raising story because it's nuts. I'm not sure
just below 5. I believe it's 4.2.
4.2. Okay, nuts valuation as well. From our friends over there at GC, which is awesome. I asked him. Him and I were speaking over a call the other day, and he told me the story of how they raised the money. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, so I'm going to ask him if we can say it.
You might get fired from the podcast, like the XAI guy.
Yeah. I mean, who would fire me though?
For jumping on a podcast?
Would you fire me?
I guess, yeah. Then it'd be a bit boring.
You'd be screwed, wouldn't you? But yeah, no, Siavash. And the cool thing about Siavash, I remember when I just joined Convergence, obviously his CV was insane, so I wanted to he was an advisor, so he wasn't in the office all the time. But when he did come in, the first time he came in, I asked him, hey, I just went over, hey, can we get a coffee? I'd love to learn from you.
May I meet you?
May I meet you? Yeah. Who was the May I meet you guy?
Who's the hedge fund dude? I can't remember.
I forgot. Yeah, that was such a good.
It'll come to me. The name will come to me.
Hey, may I meet you?
Hey, may I meeted?
I looked him dead in the eyes and said, hey, may I meet you? Siavash instantly stopped working and said, yeah, let's go for a walk around the canal. And spent like an hour and a half with me just chatting, asking me about what I needed, how we could help, what my background was, how he can help me at Convergence, answering all my questions.
What a beast.
Which is pretty sick. Yeah. So, and now he's launched Stiller. We'll play a demo before he comes on. I've already had a demo. It's absolutely nuts. What they're building is really cool. I feel like it's the thing that that a load of enterprise companies are trying to do and not getting right. So yeah, like that's a good one to look forward to.
He shared a customer success thing, which we'll pull up as well, which I've just remembered, so I'll get the link for you. But he posted on LinkedIn the other day of a Slack communication with between him and Legora. And
he posted this.
And one of the, I can't remember what her name, I want to say Corinna, something like that. She basically like on Slack Siavash and was like, oh, I can Stiller do this for me? Because I want to do this.
Yeah.
Within a minute, Stiller then replied, said, yeah, I can do that. Here's this.
It's crazy.
And then Siavash replied to that message and said, like, you heard it from Stiller. Like, you didn't need me.
Dude, there are some more like nuts examples that he was walking me through on the demo yesterday. Just showing me all he just pulled up his Slack and was like showing me all the stuff. Yeah, and it's so funny because it kind of markets itself for you. Like even just solving a customer's problem, it can market itself for you. With that in mind,
he should do those screenshots more often. Anyway, so that's 12:30 p.m. It's going to be a very good conversation. Make sure you tune in for that if you're going to jump in and out. Then we have Alexandros Pantalis. He is the co-founder and CEO of Phagos. Phagos is a biomedical company, I believe. They reached out to me back in October. They've basically just done a Series A, 25 million euros, but it's the largest in veterinary health. And they've become the world's first authorization. It's the first authorization in the world to market personalized veterinary phage-based treatments. Super interesting company. We're going to jump in, and it's going to be good.
That space, just quickly, there are a lot of things happening, and you heard this correct. There's a lot of things happening at the intersection of cattle and technology.
There you go.
Like cows. Like I'm seeing somebody build Whoop for cows. I know it sounds weird, and I think it's at a nuts valuation. But I can even just quickly search.
I mean, obviously cows are very different to sheep, but don't sheep just try and kill themselves all the time?
I don't know.
They run into fences and get stuck in fences and I think they're just apparently they're just a nightmare.
I'm not aware. I've just searched Whoop for cows.
I imagine cows are very similar.
Yeah, maybe. I don't own any cows or sheep. It's quite hard to do.
Not in your flat in Little Venice.
Living in London. But I've just Googled it now, and the first thing that's come up is an article from 2016, which is Fujitsu made a wearable for cows. So maybe actually
they were before.
That whole
before Whoop.
That whole
maybe
we were too early thing.
Yeah. Maybe Will Ahmed got the idea for Whoop.
Maybe he owns cattle
from this article.
Yeah. No, it's very possible. But no, yeah, it's all about but there's loads of stuff popping up.
Super funny. It's gonna be cool.
Something like the tech biospace.
Indeed. Then our penultimate guest is who is it? Madeline Lawrence. She is the Chief Growth Officer at Aikido Security. Yeah. They are Europe's newest unicorn.
Yeah, some trumpets for that, I think. It's only fair to play the trumpets for Europe's newest unicorn.
There we go. They've just done 60 million Series B at a $1 billion valuation.
A clean $1 billion as well.
They're the only security. I think they're building out of, I want to say Amsterdam, somewhere like that. And they're the only company building. Oh no, somewhere like that. And they're the only company building out of that space. And they are European only ones building in this
in Belgium.
Niche in Belgium. There we go. And then everyone else is in the US, I believe.
US and Israel.
There you go. They're taking on the whole of the market from Europe, which is very, very cool, very exciting. And then the last guest that we have on for 10 minutes is Peter Fuller. He is the co-founder and CEO of Tracelight. Now, Tracelight is a really cool company. Tracelight is an AI agent that sits within Excel, basically makes your analysts have superpowers in the fact that they probably will never need to write an Excel function ever again. You can build models on it and all of that kind of stuff. And I think they've had some nut stats. Obviously, I'll let Peter kind of delve into the stats, but they've just released their Trace 1.0, Tracelight 1.0. They did their series. No, I think they did their 3.6 million seed round earlier last year. And they're not raising any more, I don't think, at the moment. But what they are doing is just releasing a new level of product, which is really, really cool. So we're going to go through, deep dive the product, deep dive the launch, all of that kind of fun stuff. And that is at the end of the show. But shall we jump into some news?
Let's do it. Well, we can do some unboxing.
News
but before we do that, let me just tell you about our friends over there at Polymarket.
Indeed.
Polymarket is the world's largest prediction market. If you want to stay informed and profit from your knowledge, go to polymarket.com. Without further ado.
Before we do, let's do this first because everyone's waiting.
This thing is lethal. I mean, it's a lot less lethal in person, but should we reveal?
Our friends over at Wineify, thank you very much, Wineify.
Shout out to Wineify. Thank you very much. In true London fashion. I'll just help. Knife crime is rampant and it's found its way into the studio. That box is lovely.
Not a knife. It's a saber. Champagne saber from the lovely people from Wineify to go very well.
Yeah. We could do like a little Wineify.
I need to get the.
Yeah, I mean you can see it, but there is a Wineify logo on there that looks quite cool.
I had to walk to the studio with this in my backpack, and I believe. If I was found,
you get arrested for that. 100%.
It's game over.
My cousin got arrested for having a knife that he used to cut up apples with, and it was the blade was like the size of his finger. That's a terrible idea.
Okay, we'll just put it there.
Let's just put it flat. But no, shout out to the Wineify guys. We love champagne sabers here at the European Technology Network.
These bottles will be opened with the saber one day.
Yeah, when we
it's
hit
going to be a good
10,000 followers.
There you go. You heard it here first.
LinkedIn or X? LinkedIn, we're kind of close.
Yeah, X.
Okay,
we'll do
X. 10,000 on X. And also, everyone may have seen recently that we did a trade deal with DeepMind. Shout out to Lucas Haas for hooking us up. For those who live under a rock and don't know what DeepMind is, it is the best AI lab in the world.
Ready?
This is our little Google box. On it, it says
Google
Nano Banana Gemini 2.5 flash image. And we are going to... Oh, we're going to do it like that? Okay, yeah, fine.
Ooh,
can you see... Can you even see it? It's the glare. How did you do that so smoothly?
I don't know.
For those who are just listening and not looking at the video, you're probably experiencing some weird noises right now.
Look at this. Oh,
you have made a right mess of that. I'm going to just take mine out of the box.
Look at that.
Okay. This is quite tricky. We should have just unboxed it
I'm just going to hold it up until everyone can...
Okay. Well, yours, it's not in... You can't see it in the view.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's so nice. Why do you give me that side and then I'll do like this?
Yeah, let's go.
Woi to the oi. Oh, the Google.
Hold on.
There we go. Gemini hoodies with a little banana on
Gemini,
the back.
then we spin it around,
Look at that. Oh, watch your headphones there. It's getting tangled. Thank you very much to the Google DeepMind team. Keep up the good work over there. Quite literally doing God's work.
Quite literally.
Which you love to see. We'll put these down. We'll have to find a place for them.
We didn't realise when we went to their office, they have 3 offices within a 200 meter radius. Pretty nuts.
Taking over.
Put it next to there, just because they've killed it.
No, very very cool, very very cool. That looks great actually. Yeah. Oh, what we're gonna give them a little spot there?
Yeah, we'll give them a little spot next to Polymarket. Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
Lucky guys getting a back to back.
Well, they are Google DeepMind, to be fair.
Okay, so on to our first bit of news. Sequoia is eyeing up Anthropic for a little bit of investment.
Here we go. This is an interesting story. So basically,
I'll pull it up.
Their first major check into Anthropic. They're joining a mega round that's reportedly targeting $25 billion at a $350 billion valuation.
That's a lot of money.
Not quite as big as... Not quite as big as OpenAI's 40 billion led by SoftBank a few months ago, but it will be one of the largest private market funding rounds in history, which is really exciting. Do you want to pull up and read some of the articles?
We're up right now.
There's some interesting things I want to deep dive on, but
so Sequoia Capital is lining up a big investment into Anthropic, throwing its weight behind the AI startup for the first time as part of a funding round set to raise tens of billions of dollars.
Yes, sir.
The Californian Veteran Capital Group is joining a funding round led by Singaporean sovereign wealth fund GIC and US investor Coatue, which are contributing $1.5 billion each, according to multiple people with direct knowledge of the deal. These people said Anthropic was aiming to raise $25 billion or more in a total deal that values the company at $350 billion, more than doubling its $170 billion valuation just 4 months ago. Tech groups Microsoft and Nvidia have committed to invest up to $15 billion in total into the company, with venture capitalists and other investors contributing another $10 billion or more, they added. The funding discussions here, they says they remain live and the final figure could change, said two of the people. Anthropic is yet to decide which investors to admit to the funding round, they added, but the new funding round is expected to close in the next few weeks.
Interesting stuff. A massive round, obviously. What's more interesting here is that it comes after this, Sequoia shake-up thing with Roelof Botha. He was ousted back in November, and Pat Grady and Alfred Lin were, I guess, elected to co-lead. And it's around. So Roelof said this Anthropic. Oh no, actually, one of the co-leads, I think it was Pat, said this Anthropic deal is around where the company is so big that it's gone from a VC investment to a stock investment. They said Sequoia own a ton of both OpenAI and XAI and are very bullish on the idea that this is not a race to be won, but that they will reach that they will each have their own capabilities. In a sense, basically saying, Sequoia is worth indexing all of them. They obviously have investments into XAI, OpenAI, and now hopefully soon in the next few weeks will be Anthropic. And so it's worth, instead of doing this like kind of venture play where it's kind of like a power law, it's worth indexing over all of them. I think that's very telling because a lot of people, I think there was some prediction in the predictions for 2026. They were saying in a lot of the articles that were talking about this, they're saying like it's not an AI race. Like nothing can be won. Everyone can win in their kind of own way. And so this is like a direct, backing of that idea that Sequoia is now like, we're going to index the whole thing. We're going to we're going to spread our bets and basically like underwrite the whole kind of like multi-model world, as they say. Different labs win kind of different wedges. Is it enterprise? Is it consumer? Is it like coding, regulation? All of the other whatever. Like bunch of models playing. Might as well invest in all of them.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think you have to approach it like you can't approach it like a traditional industry, right? Like if I'm investing, like £1 billion in two competing like payments platforms, like that would probably be a bad move, right? Like I think they call it like the innovator's dilemma or the investor's dilemma, where you're funding one startup and also their competitor, right? Because it's kind of eating into your own.
Well, that's what, so. There was a lot of ex posts about the fact that there's like, well, you're just investing in like, you're investing in a competitor, but it's obviously this direct thing of like, where we're not necessarily picking the winners, we're just like owning the field.
Yeah, kind of like, look, let's say they were all public companies, right? Would you like pour all your money into one, or would you
spread your risk?
I mean, I'd want to own all three. I wouldn't just be like, I'm only owning this because these guys are definitely going to win. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd lean towards, but you don't want to bet against Musk. I was going to say I'd just like put all my money in OpenAI and Anthropic. But then like I'd want a little smidge of XAI as well in there probably, Yeah. Not sure if it'd be a 33 there. I'm not sure how I'd give that up.
Does that mean
this is not financial advice, by the way?
Does that mean you'd also want Ryanair stock if Musk
I am super long Ryanair. As a frequent Ryanair flyer, I'm incredibly long Ryanair. I saw the back and forth between them. We can get some stuff about them later, but thing that made me laugh so much was when like the Ryanair CEO, I forget his name now, but he came out and he was like Musk is an idiot. Like he knows nothing about like the physics of flight and like drag. And I was like, he is the founder of SpaceX, mate. So I think he might know a thing or two about that.
He might know a little bit about that.
But yeah, the Ryanair CEO is making me laugh as well.
But obviously, yes. So this Anthropic deal is a they're going to like mega sovereign funds, mega hedge fund vibe. This isn't like a private investment. This is now like, there was talks about them gearing up for an IPO. Obviously, they've signed lawyers, talking with bankers. It is happening. This will be, I think, their last private funding round before an IPO.
Yeah.
And possibly one of, if not the biggest IPO in history, which would be really cool. I think it will happen this year.
That's gonna be nuts when they all SpaceX, OpenAI, and Anthropic do all launch. But I think the main headline here isn't like, reading those numbers, it's not surprising, right? I think we've previously covered that they were doing $350 billion valuation.
Yeah, there was a comment on one of the expos that was like, just another Monday.
Yeah. Well, I saw another one like taking the mick a little bit. There was like breaking, like AI lab raises more money. And that was it. And everyone just like, it's kind of just like the same thing. Like, like breaking, like number gets bigger.
Same stuff, different day.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the heading is more like Sequoia is getting stuck in,
especially after this whole thing happened in November. It's like because that was why he got ousted, wasn't it? It was Roloff. I think there's a thing in the article that talks about Roloff basically disregarding the fact that like there's no point putting more money into something when it's not going to yield any more results.
But in charge, Sequoia passed on previous funding rounds for Anthropic, was wary of the concentration of VC investment into a handful of highly valued startups, arguing that venture capital was not an asset class. He said in an interview last year that throwing more money in Silicon Valley doesn't yield more great companies.
Indeed. Which is an interesting take, and that's obviously why he's been ousted. And then this is like a clear play of, okay, they're going to go, obviously we're going to go and invest in Anthropic. If we want to own the whole stack, we might as well go and do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, but big deals happening, numbers getting bigger, always a good thing.
We love it when numbers get bigger.
We really do.
But we have another interesting one to go back to us for now. Something closer to home.
A little bit closer to home. Our friend Matty over at ElevenLabs is in talks of raising $11 billion. No, he's not. He's in talks of raising at an $11 billion valuation.
That
would be real nuts.
The news seems less good now.
Yeah, sorry, everyone. Sorry.
Let me play some. Let me play some money for our boy Matty as well.
Hey.
So it's in funding talks at an $11 billion valuation. So I'm not sure if they're going to comment on the
if
figure.
They do this, by the way, the UK's most valued AI startup.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Which is absolutely huge
to the
news.
team.
You'd love to see that.
This is just 4 months after the company was valued at $6.6 billion as well.
It's funny because like Lovable and them both had a 6.6 bill valuation.
Yeah,
at the
6.6 seems to kind of be that number that they like.
Yeah, that's like a fun number. I think Anton commented on one of Matty's LinkedIn posts, or maybe it was the other way around. I can't remember.
Whose startup's gonna
6.6? Like yeah, fun, like sort of thing. Just like wow, imagine like that's the level that you have your banter on. You've also got 6.6 billion like net value. Like content.
Yeah, nice,
pretty cool. But let's talk a little bit about the article. So yeah, ElevenLabs is in talks for new funding that would almost double its valuation to 11 billion within months and transform into the UK's most valuable AI startup. The AI voice generator company is seeking to raise hundreds of millions of dollars from investors, according to people familiar with the matter. The discussions come just 4 months after a secondary share sale, which valued at 6.6 billion. The people added that the talks were at an early stage and can still change. And then a little bit more background on ElevenLabs in general. ElevenLabs was co-founded in London by Polish entrepreneurs Maciej Staniszewski and Piotr Debkowski. I think that's right. In 2022, and has been backed by venture capital investors including Sequoia, Iconic, and Andreessen Horowitz. Its latest funding talks could propel it to become the UK's most highly valued AI startup. London-based autonomous driving company Wave still needs to get their founder on. Was in talks in October to raise up to 2 billion of new funding at a valuation of about 8 billion before taking the new money into account. And then also Nscale, the Nvidia-backed cloud computing startup, was valued at about 3 billion in September. You love to see it. More. I mean, I just think like Lovable and ElevenLabs are on this crazy.
Dude, it's nuts. So there's another thing in this article. It says ElevenLabs had previously raised $180 million of funding in January 2025 at a $3.3 billion valuation. Then raised in September, doubled its valuation to 6.6. So it didn't raise, it did a secondary sale, offloading $100 million worth of stock at a $6.6 billion valuation. At the time, the company said it had an annual recurring revenue of around 200 million.
Yeah.
Then they've just hit when was that? Was that last week? They just hit $330 million in ARR.
Yeah.
Now potentially raising probably in the 200 to 300 million dollar mark, an $11 billion valuation, which is wild.
Yeah, they're on a tear, and that a good I feel a good indicator as to which European startups are on a tear is which ones do the folks in the US know. I just think that's always a good indicator. I was chatting to someone last night, and two of the companies that came up straight away was ElevenLabs and well, the first one was Lovable. To be fair, I think they have a more marketing / growth styled approach just generally. Like their distribution is incredible.
But they're a consumer product.
Yeah, true. But it's just naturally, part of that is, their distribution is just naturally better. But, ElevenLabs is a consumer product first, to be fair. Still is. But,
based on what I'm saying is
Lovables is very visual.
Lovables is mainly consumer.
Yeah, well, the virality is baked into the product, right? It's like I make something cool, I share it online because it makes me look good, type of thing. But yeah, you love to see it. It's just another homegrown, another European, sort of leading the charge as well. I feel like Matty and Anton are the kind of figureheads for this European technology. I don't know what you call it. I was going to say revolution, but it's a bit cringe to say revolution. Renaissance is cooler. So we'll go with Renaissance.
Revolution.
Yeah. We'll go with Renaissance. It's another one to add to the table. I saw the other day as well. I think when was it when we had Luke Harris on, who's his title's growth at ElevenLabs, but he's so much more than that. He was I think employee number 8. He's been with them since the start, which is awesome. Insanely cracked growth guy. He was telling us, I think we asked him actually that they'd done one deal that added 14 million ARR onto the books in one day. In one day they'd added 14 million ARR onto the books. And we asked was that one, and was the majority of that one enterprise deal? And I think 13 and a half of it was one enterprise deal. Yeah. Which is crazy, right?
I remember their tweets coming out about the fact that it was ElevenLabs has added 14 million ARR in one day, and then the tweets were well, no, obviously those deals have been going on for a while. It just got signed that day, but then we obviously asked, and we were okay, well, how much of that was a deal that they're not just going to come and sign it in a day, but when they do sign, that's a massive deal. It's a $13 million deal. It's absolutely wild.
I mean, the AE who slung that thing. I mean, I'm sure Matty's probably on the calls as well for something that large. I'd imagine, actually, yeah, he probably is. But,
yeah, he would be. He'd run those deals, surely. I don't know, maybe not.
Well, he'd run sign off. He'd run final exec meeting, I'd assume. But the AE's probably driving it.
Yeah,
from
it would need a
close.
signature.
But I think they'd have an executive call. I mean, 40 million is a lot of money. That's not a standard ACV contract, is it?
No.
14 M's is a lot. But yeah, no, it's happy days. It's they're all over Forbes at the moment. So is Anton. I think he was on last year. I think it was Forbes 30 under 30. But yeah, another EU.
Another story for ElevenLabs. Congrats to ElevenLabs. Yeah,
maybe it's a manual applaud.
Manual applaud.
That's
another manual applaud for Airwallex. Leave outdated business banking behind. Leave Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place. Go to airwallex.com. They gave us a McLaren car, so you've got to come. You just got to go there. You just got to go.
Up next, we have the X offering 1 million article prize.
The slop challenge, the slop games.
Yeah, so this is a tweet. Cool. So just checking with our producer, Marcus, is it cool? This is a tweet just so it's we can do like the extra. Yeah. I'm gonna pull this up. This is
nice graphic, by the way.
I saw Beeple's art piece. Did you see that? Beeple's piece. I'm pretty sure it was referring to this. Let me just sort of share this on X. So there's no sounds to this, but this is just a nice graphic that Nikita has thrown on there as well for everyone. But Nikita says, ladies and gentlemen, we're giving 1 million to the top article posted on X. You have 2 weeks. It's time to write. For those who don't know, X recently introduced a more of a long form strategy, which is like article writing. So traditionally it had that character limit of, I think, 280 or maybe even less, 140.
It was 140, then 280.
Then moved to 280.
And moved up again, actually.
So X have introduced this new way of sort of writing. It's long form now. Anyone can write. Anyone with a premium account, which I think is like $6.99 or something a month, can write long form posts. They're called articles. I think initially when they first released the feature, that they were pushing them a little bit more. Like you were seeing a lot more articles pop up on your feed. I think they were like the algorithm was favoring individuals writing articles. We covered Lulu's one on the everything is fake now. And for those who have been on X and I guess sit in the tech space or sort of any space adjacent to that, will have seen Dan Koh's recent article, which was how to change your life in one day, I think the title was.
The major bag fumble.
But yeah, he posted that like the day before this was announced. So like there's a whole thing about like, is he owed money, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so Nikita goes on to...
which, by the way, it has 140 million views.
Yeah, it's a nuts amount. I've not actually read it, to be honest. But apparently it's pretty good. But Nikita shares down on the thread. So we're trying something new. We're giving 1 million to the top article of the next payout period. We're doubling down on what creators on X do best, writing. In 2026, our goal is to recognize high value, high impact content that shapes conversations, breaks news, and moves culture. The article must be original content, at least 1,000 words, and will be judged primarily on verified home timeline impressions. Only US users are eligible. Didn't know that. The content that violates our policies is hateful, fraudulent, or manipulative is not eligible. Here are the terms. And then like some blah, 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 blah stuff after that, which is kind of boring. Yeah, I've just seen here, but Dan Koh comes out. How about this pay period? Gets 3.2 thousand likes. So yeah, Dan Koh is the person who, he wrote an article. It was the most viewed article out of all the articles that were in. And it was posted like 24 hours before, I know a bit longer actually. I think it was like a few days before Nikita announced it. Which is funny. Also, friend of the stream, Molly O'Shea says, so this is why thought leadership is on the rise. Brian Johnson also drops a comment. Going to drop some bioerotica. Thank you for that, Brian, on his recent tear that he's doing.
So I wanted to deep dive why they are pushing into this. Because obviously, like, historically, the Substacks of the world have been like the main place where the writers go. Then Beehive is now taking a lot of the market share. Is X trying to move into that? I don't know. Obviously, like you've got emails that are just, you own your email list. That is like the one fundamental reason why you would own a Substack or a Beehive newsletter. So people aren't going to like move away from their newsletter platforms. But the main benefit here is that like you're allowing people to like cross pollinate everywhere. So right on Substack or Beehive, and then you can then post your like, say if you have like a free tier, you can post your free tier on X. It's like net positive, right? You're gonna grow.
Yeah, just like recycle it.
So I think the main benefit here for like Nikita and X is eventually, obviously, like there's going to be, and I think Nikita mentioned it. He was like, "Oh yeah," Nikita literally said, "There's going to be article Armageddon, right? It is going to be slot wars everywhere. Everyone's going to be using AI for X, Y, Z. You're going to have articles like literally like coming out of your ears, which is true. You go on X and there are articles everywhere. It's quite funny. Everyone is posting an article.
Yeah, I remember when they first launched it, there was an article for everything.
Yeah." But so obviously at the beginning, but then eventually it's going to start to like mellow out. And in theory, the best writers will stick. The better writers will. And so the idea is that this is my theory.
Okay.
Is
listening.
Is that the quality of writing is just going to stay, so it's going to go up, but then obviously you're going to have all the slop as well. Yeah. And eventually the slop will kind of die down, but then you have all the best writers in the kind of top 10 percentile or whatever.
Okay, like a natural selection.
Sticking, and they're like, oh, like I might as well keep cross posting because I'm getting good interactions. I'm getting, good traction from my articles. I might as well keep, cross posting, and therefore the net result for X is generally better writing on the platform.
Yeah, survival of the fittest.
And then
writer.
Over time, there'll be less AI slop and more human craft and creativity. But it's like a mental shift. It's like, oh, like I can cross post the free parts of the articles on X. So more impressions, more signups, etc. It's like a net positive for the writer, and therefore a net positive for X.
Yeah.
That's like, I think, the fundamental key play here.
That's your hot take.
Hot take right here. You had to hear it here.
I agree. I think it's weird that, not weird, I think that this is overarchingly like part of like a newer shift, a very new shift that we're kind of seeing away. We've been so plagued by short form everything.
I love the articles, by the way.
Yeah, I think they're cool.
I think they're so
they're great.
good. I think it's just a great way of like, you're scrolling through X, usually short post, look at a thing. You can either bookmark it for later, or like if you have time, you spend a good 10, 11, 12 minutes or whatever it is, like reading this article. It's like so much better for you. So I feel like I'm health maxing when I'm reading these X articles.
That's a push.
I also feel like
you know how last week we talked about people that watch films and pretend that that's productive because they're no longer just scrolling on TikTok. You are that person, but even worse because X article is shorter than a film. Please continue. I'm
health maxing. I'm also actually that is the only point. I'm health maxing.
Game over.
That's what I think of that. But I think that we're seeing like a new transition, a very new transition away from the slopified stuff. I think that that there's this yearning for
human craft.
Yeah. What's so
said
weird
that actually in his X post was Siavash.
Really?
In a hiring X post, he said, we're going to have to get it up. I think I linked it in the show notes, but basically saying like, I'm looking for someone who enjoys the craft of building. And then he wrote a load of techie stuff and I didn't understand.
Fair enough. But you got the craftsmanship.
I was like, craft,
cool.
let's go.
Oh yeah, one out for craft. We love that.
Big up to Siavash.
But yeah, let's in terms of a growth play, makes sense. Lovable did, biggest hackathon ever. Here's the £1 million prize. Bolt.new did it, biggest hackathon ever, £1 million prize. Dollars. Or imagine X paying $1 million for a bunch of design partners. Like if you could say, hey, magic machine, if I give you $1 million, can you tell me if this feature is good or not? Can you give me all the metrics on usage? Can you tell me like if it's adding new signups, if people are like if it's helping with churn, how long are people staying on the platform more? Would you pay $1 million for that? Hell yeah, if you're X, like it's nothing like. It's a great way to test a new feature.
Well, there's a great, if you go onto the
but it is biased though.
If you go onto
have a high amount of users
that I've highlighted on the show notes, it's true. It's a good take. $1 million to get millions of long form content as training data sets for Grok.
Let's see this.
What a great take. It's so true. It's like a classic. Oh, we might as well pay $1 million. The arbitrage of you can just
they're saying
you can just take whatever you're going to earn from more users using the platform over time. Pay the $1 million. Like it's a great growth play.
Yeah,
classic growth play. That only got 700 views, by the way. That should be.
I've not shown it. Shall I show it?
Thanks to Murat Khan Koylan.
We'll give.
Murat Khan Koylan from Toronto, Canada. What a beast. On the European Technology Network.
1 million to get millions of long form content as training data sets for Grok. And then that fella from Parks and Rec?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes of that. Never probably watched it. But yeah, I think it's awesome. I haven't written an article yet, but I'm now realizing live that I'm like article writer. Like there's people that I must write article like writer now. Like I have to write articles. Like even just me realizing live, then I was like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I want to write an article. Like now it's just
now if you write an article, everyone knows.
Yeah, article writer. I just think it takes away some of the magic. I think
there's actually like proper like big cap CEOs writing articles now. And there's there's comments saying, why you like you don't need $1 million. Stop writing these articles.
Yeah. I saw the CEO of Netflix wrote one. And someone quote tweeted it like, someone quote tweeted like, "This is who you're competing with for the $1 million. I didn't know it wasn't available in the US though. Not that like I have a shot, but they're only available in the US. But there are some funny memes that have come up that we can talk about later.
Indeed.
But before we press on, I just want to tell you about our friends at Spectre. I want you to be the reason that your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre. You can try them out at tryspectre.com. You can also harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Go to tryspectre.com. Do it today.
Go to tryspectre.com. Just do it. You can see the ticker below. Anyway, moving on. Andreas Klinger announces his $15 million fund.
We need some trumpets for this man.
Okay.
And we need to share it. So we're doing a trumpets duo share.
Andreas Klinger has announced his $15 million fund. Congratulations to Andreas Klinger.
That's solo GP. Andreas the King Klinger announces his 15 million euro for European robotics, automation and AI. The fund will write first checks of 200k to 500k into 30 to 40 companies with around 1/3 reserved for follow-on investments. Andreas Klinger, a good friend of the show. I remember when we first reached out to Andreas Klinger, I think on X before we started the show. We were like, "Hey, we're doing this thing. You want to chat?" And then within 5 minutes, we had a group chat with Prototype, me, you, him, and Marvin, chatting through things. He was incredibly helpful. He also used to live stream as well, which is crazy. Yeah. He used to do, now he's got his amazing
what's interesting
podcast.
now is he's doubling down on the content, which is awesome. He's going around filming content, and his thing is he doesn't want like a polished office. He doesn't want like a polished like workshop. He's like, let me come when you're in the weeds. Let me come when there's stuff everywhere and you're working things out, whatever. The team is like super busy and all of that kind of stuff. Like he's like, I want to see the nitty gritty kind
he likes the crazy stuff.
Of the process.
Yeah. And a quote comes to mind from our interview with him at Slush that says, as a solo GP, he said, "I can't promise you returns, but I can promise you it'll be crazy."
Nice.
Which is really, really cool. Now he can... His funds are doing incredibly well. This is his third fund, I think it was said. Yeah. His first two were incredibly well, and he's like raised this with ease. Really cool. I've got it up here. We're sharing it. Andreas Klinger has raised 15 million euros of a new 20 million euro fund to back European founders working on robotics, automation, and AI. The raise marks his solo GP Prototype Capital's third fund, focused on writing checks into startups. The fund is backed by a group of European family offices, founders, and operators, and is the first of Prototypes that will exclusively back founders in Europe. Klinger. Oh, we're seeing some M dashes here in this Sifted article.
Oh dear.
Which is interesting. I think we've mentioned before, the M dash became such... Sorry, Mr. Klinger, we'll get back to the story in a second, but the M dash became such a blatant use of AI that like an immediate counterculture was born to purposely... You can only do it if you were well credited, obviously, but to purposely use the M dash as a sort of like act of like resilience, act of defiance. I think it added some aura to your post. So perhaps
if they're using the right place.
Who is this written by? Tom Nugent.
Yeah,
I think he'd use it for aura farming instead of. I mean, Tom's obviously not going to AI this, right? Like he'll use the M dash as a resilience marker, standing up to the AI war. But anyway, enough on that. Klinger, an experienced startup operator and co-founder of the EU Inc. campaign to introduce a cross-border legal framework enabling companies to operate under a single set of rules, says it took 5 months to raise the money. The fund, I thought it was less than that, because I thought he was, even at Slush, he was like basically done. Yeah. The fund will write checks in the area of 200k to 500k into 30 to 40 companies with around 1/3 reserved for follow-on investments. Klinger also plans to publish all Prototypes fund updates publicly. According to a LinkedIn post he wrote, All of its funds currently rank in the global 1 to 5% for performance. I think we should watch his launch vid.
Let's do it.
Should I find it?
Launch video.
Let me. I just bring it back to us
LinkedIn
for a
post.
sec.
It's on the LinkedIn post.
Well, let me just get the X one up. I think it would be easier to get. We can get this up live.
Oh no, it's not on the X post. Don't worry.
Oh, nice.
I think he posted twice.
Oh, it's definitely on LinkedIn, on X. I've got it here.
Yeah, it's definitely on X.
Okay, cool.
The music is so good.
Okay, hold on. Oh, I'm hyped to watch this. Let's do that. Let's do this. Okay, yeah, that should be sharing. Yeah, so just quickly, Andreas Klinger posted this earlier. Only needs a few crazy ones to fix the continent. Let's be crazy. I got something to announce. We're launching Prototype, a new fund fully focused on Europe. Small fund that punches way above its size. With it, we back what Europe is world class at: robotics, automation, manufacturing, and anything that requires hard engineering. First check, first round, as early as it gets. This is like email territory. You know, when it's like email of old company territory. Who did we chat to about that? Lawrence from Cloudberry.
Yes.
Yeah. Europe invented industry. We're the birthplace of precision manufacturing, the second largest manufacturing hub on the planet, leaders in automation and robotics, and yet we sell out our best tech to China. We export our best founders and most of our investment money to the US. That's insanity. What should we do instead? Build the next €1 trillion companies in robotics, manufacturing, automation right here in Europe. Showcase to young founders what is possible and change the system around them when they're needed. It's kind of like a rally cry, this, to all Europeans out there. He goes on to say a few more points about the fund that we've already covered. But let's take a look at this video here.
Europe is a leader in industrial automation and robotics and has been so since decades. We are also an undisputed leader in precision manufacturing.
The music, when the music comes in,
any high-quality part out of your machine most likely come out of a European.
He's got the EU Ink badge as well.
We are the second
wearing
largest manufacturing hub in the world, and we're leading in multiple industries. But in the last decade, we have been falling behind China more and more. We're selling out our best companies to China for no freaking reason whatsoever. And instead of doing that, we should actually fully reindustrialize Europe and become the #1 manufacturing hub in the world. And we have all the parts needed for that.
His videos always
we have the research, we have the supplier, we have the customers, we have the best machines in the world.
Gets you hyped.
And for people who are crazy enough to believe that they can be the founders of the next wave of robotics, industrialization and automation, we built the perfect fund. It's called Prototype.
The music hits.
Oh, that was Voltrack.
If you're crazy enough to believe that you can build a #1 company in frontier tech, you want to be crazy enough to be the first people to give you money. Invest first check, first round, as early as it's possible. We want to find the next generation of people who build massive industries right here in Europe. Alongside the fund, we are launching a brand new YouTube channel. The goal is to feature Europe's most ambitious startups.
This is cool as well.
Take you along when we go into the workshops, go into the labs, and see the actual behind the scenes.
Ivan, shout out to
the
Ivan.
founders face to face, see the machines, understand what they're trying to build. No PR, no BS, as raw as it gets, as real as it gets. But we want to do much more than that. We want to fix the system for startups and founders in Europe. Last year, we were co-initiators of a project called EO Inc., which is now on its way to become European law. The goal of EO Inc. is to make it possible for you as a founder to raise money from the best investors globally as quickly as possible by fixing the fragmentation that make us in Europe play on hard mode. My name is Andreas Klinger. I am an engineer, CTO, and nowadays investor. I have helped building multiple companies in San Francisco and Europe, and I'm an investor in 100+ companies, anything from rockets, developer tooling, factories, tractors, drones, AI models. Anything that's a little bit weird at the moment when it launches is like usually what's interesting to me. With Prototype, I'm trying to build the fund that I would have.
Wait, I just realised you're watching it on your lap. We're watching it at different speeds.
When nobody else
we're quite aligned there.
A fund that's crazy enough
to
I
made sure.
Can build #1 companies out of nothing.
I'm listening to yours.
Oh, that's weird. Nice.
What a beast, Andreas Klinger. I'm very excited to talk to him. He's coming on the show on Thursday. It's going to be a good episode.
We were trying to get him on today, but he had to have a chat with the German government during the time when we were chatting the other day. But
it's pretty good.
It's a pretty fair excuse, yeah. The German government.
It's like it's like Kanishka saying, "Oh, I've got to go into the UK government chambers."
Yeah.
Instead of coming on ETN, it's like, yeah, dude, go for it.
It's funny with James Wise as well. When we were asking the other day, he's like, "Yeah, you've seen Nick Clegg, Hero Capital. you know, have you seen Keen? He's like, well, yeah, I was having breakfast with Nick Clegg the other day. Or I think you called him Nick or something. I was like, oh, of course you are.
Yeah. Standard procedure. Procedure.
But yeah, look, you'd love to see that from Andreas. Andreas is joining us on Thursday. We're going to be breaking down the new fund, the state of EU Inc., where it's at. Yeah, you know, if you're a European founder looking for that first check super early and you're building in hard tech, Andreas Klinger is your man. He can help out. He's also very well connected, and he's just a great guy. Just an all-round great guy.
He is a great guy.
Should we go back to the article?
What article? The Andreas article?
Yeah.
No, I think we should. I think we should move on.
Okay.
So, in other news, Neko Health. If you go to the Ledger, in other news, Neko Health is going to come to the US. It's going to New York. With now over 300,000 people on our waitlist, the Neko Body Scan will offer New Yorkers a complete new healthcare experience that combines breakthrough scanning technology with personalized preventative care. And our dedicated US waitlist is now open. So if you are live in or travel, if you live in or travel to New York, join the waitlist now to be at the top of the line. When we open our doors in the city in 2026, we're also excited to serve exponentially more people. We'll be opening more locations in the UK and Sweden and bringing new technology into the scan room powered by our latest research. Daniel Ek and I have been talking about our US launch since the early days, but building this company together. I couldn't be more fired up that this moment has finally come. Lots of hard work ahead. Congrats to them. Congrats to the Neko Health team.
Seen David Sender has come under it as well. Dude, this is incredible news. Now I don't have to fly to Stockholm to do this every time. Come on, a new show. That's so funny. Yeah, really cool. Have you done?
I've never done one.
When they first launched, it was just like fully, you couldn't get in. It was just like fully
booked. Easily booked. And it's going to happen more and more. We're obviously doing our Lucis Health, our Lucis live checks, which is going to be good. I've got mine tomorrow morning, which is fun. Actually, I don't know if I should be drinking this.
Well, you've already messed up because you're not meant to have any, supplements, whatever, and you're full of creatine right now.
I had creatine. I've had my creatine. I've had my vitamin D. Now I'm having a trip, which I assume is some form of supplement. Basically, I've screwed it up. So Max at Lucis, I apologise if my test results are wrong / bad.
Yeah, I've got mine on Friday. Looking forward to it. I didn't want to book too early because I'm just not sure if I would have made it.
Well, yeah, you don't have breakfast, so it's fine.
Yeah, I've been intermittent fasting since 2007. Just purely because it just started off like, I think it was at uni, I just didn't have breakfast and I just kind of got used to not having breakfast. And then I found out about intermittent fasting. Instead of saying like,
oh, I don't have breakfast,
can't be bothered having breakfast in the morning, I just started saying that I intermittent fast. Let's I mean, should we pull up the town square?
Let's do the town square. Let's start the town square. We've got a lot to go through.
We've got so much to dig into, so we might as well. We might as well start now.
Well, we mentioned Elon Musk buying Ryanair. I think that's quite funny.
Can
we just jump around? Are we jumping in?
Well, I thought we'd just run through that, but I mean, we can.
We'll jump around and we'll just delete.
We'll jump around. I'm just checking if we're good. Okay.
Elon Musk. Oh, cool. Here we go. Can we?
No. All good. Let's do it now. Hold on.
Hold on. We're just
to join, so maybe we'll wait a minute. How are you both?
No. Yeah. We're good.
Very well. How are you?
We're just checking if you're live.
Yeah, we're live. Word with our. Yeah, we're good to go.
Ed's live. How's
okay. Well, let me play the trumpets then. Hold on.
Hey.
There we are. That's a much better intro. Ed, how's it going? Yes,
yeah, we are good.
Very well, thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for coming on. We have so much to dig into, and we've also been trying to sort this out for a while, haven't we? And I've been chatting to the Payrails team for the past, I think, month and a half, 2 months. Which in ETN world, that's quite a while, considering we were only born about 3 months ago. That's basically the whole time we've been a thing. But we usually start these conversations off by by sort of you explain sort of who you are, what it is you do, what Payrailz is, and then we kind of get into it from that as well.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Look, thanks for having me on. So Ed Moore is my name, or Edward, but I prefer to be called Ed. Edward's when I'm in trouble. But Ed is my name. I'm based in Dublin, and I'm the CRO here at Payrailz. I've been here for just under a year. In the context of like Payrailz, what is Payrailz? Payrailz is a payment infrastructure layer that was built for enterprises. And so the core attribute or the core component of what Payrailz builds is an infrastructure layer that's modular, and ultimately that gives enterprises back the element of control. What I mean by that is large enterprises typically tend to build large infrastructure, particularly in payments. And the commonality of a lot of modern payments companies is you have to divest a large component of that infrastructure. And with Payrailz, we allow you to have a selection in the context of what modules you use and what infrastructure you use to continue to realize the current investments of that infrastructure investment you've made, and to scale and soar while using a modular enterprise platform such as ourselves. So we're really like an organization layer, if you want to call it that, for all the different components of payments across the journey.
Nice.
A
and like before, like we dig more further into that, which I'd love to do. When we were sort of researching your background before the show as well, we noticed that, and when we were introing you earlier, we've been live for about an hour, but when we were introing you, you spent 15 years at Microsoft. You were also at Stripe on the board as well. And then you spent your whole background sort of building the current monoliths that we have available today. Stripe being one of the most valuable private companies in the world, Microsoft being a household name and one of the most valuable companies in the world generally. What was it in Payrailz that made you think like, oh, I gotta go, right? Most people are probably happy where they are, but to make the jump, and there must have been something special in Payrailz, and we'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, of course. As you said, I've spent 15 years in Microsoft, started in Australia, worked across Europe, spent a lot of time innovating within Microsoft, launching Office 365. So I launched that across Western Europe, and we built a lot of modern automated billing and provisioning systems, which are today very common, but back in 2009, that was quite innovative. And then obviously after 15 years, I wanted to change and made the leap to Stripe, and Stripe was amazing. So you guys know Stripe. Stripe is one of the leading fintechs in the world, one of the biggest private valued companies in the world, and they are soaring. And so I think when you look at Stripe and look at Microsoft, there's two common themes to it. They are very, very strong technology platforms, but also by design, they are a very streamlined platform, which means as long as you do everything on that platform, it's amazing. But in payments, payments is fragmented. Once you go outside of the 48 core markets where Stripe is at, then you have to start integrating with lots of other providers in multiple different jurisdictions and different countries. And that's where the infrastructure layer gets really, really complicated, because then you basically need to build your own in-house organization layer or infrastructure to manage this spaghetti junction of multiple players, be it PSPs or payout providers, et cetera, et cetera. And so during my you can see that theme of once they want to start going to new countries or new vectors where Stripe didn't exist, not that the wheels fell off the bus, so to speak, but you could not meet the full requirements of what those customers wanted. And when you go to true enterprises, all enterprises want control. They want control commercially, but they also want control of the technical stack, and they want control of the customer experience. And at times, we couldn't deliver that. So that was one thing. And then the other part was, obviously, through my network, I got to know Orkon and Emery really well. They basically ran Delivery Hero, built this massive team across 70 countries, and they effectively led the experience that we're now trying to solve for, where they worked with multiple payment providers, and they basically had to build a team of 300 people to manage the complexity of working across 70 regions, because there was no one payment provider that could solve that for them. And so they had to build that entire architecture to make that actually work. And so that's what drew the, I suppose, the inspiration for them to found Payrails. And obviously, when I got to meet with them and understand the vision of where they wanted to go, ultimately they're building an infrastructure layer or a platform that is agnostic, and it effectively organizes all of this fragmentation into a single layer. And so what's appealing about it is nobody's done it yet. Nobody's been successful. There's a number of other companies trying, but nobody has gotten to that level where they can democratize access to global financial services in every jurisdiction in the world and do all of the different business models that sit beneath that. And the vision the team have here is to get to that output where we can enable businesses of all sizes to transact globally and focus on doing what they're great, while we'll be the infrastructure layer that they can choose different modules to implement that suit them based on their technology stack and on their strategy of where they want to go. So that was the main reason why I ended up here.
That's so awesome.
Cool. It's interesting because there's a as like a business model for Payrails, it seems like, you know, once you hit that and once you kind of get to that stage that you were talking about of like, we want to be the kind of one payment structure so everyone can kind of, you know, use you guys, I guess, like that's very different to a lot of businesses where, you know, the goal isn't always, you know, that kind of clear, if that makes sense. Is it genuinely just like we are, you know, we're trying to find a way to get to that goal, and once we've hit that, we've kind of won in a sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, look, well, I don't think in the world of software and fintech, I don't think you've ever won, but
yeah,
there'll always be somebody great coming behind you. But I think the major premise, though, is the way we think about it is different. We want to empower the merchant, the business to have control, and then it's up to us to deliver the value to be a part of that infrastructure, right? So if we're not delivering the value or the best-in-class performance or the best support to enable them to do that, then they will replace us with a best-of-breed singular solution in that context. And so ultimately, I think we would love to be the one of everything, as every company would be. But the reality is that's not a realistic expectation today. In the future, as we evolve and hopefully we become like, you know, a Stripe or a Revolut, where you start doing multiple adjacent innovations, sure. But I think right now, as an organization layer for the payments journey, that's ultimately the journey that we're aiming for. And so it's how do we build a system and all of the innovations on top of that to, again, empower the merchant to control cost, control their infrastructure, control the customer experience. And so we need to ensure that we're enabling the merchant to have that control rather than us, which is the typical SaaS model. We'll enable you to do what you need to do, but ultimately we control it. You have to do it with us. If you go outside of that, then you need to build everything yourselves. We want to be the bridge and say, hey, you can use the best in breed with us, but we'll stitch all the fabric together for you.
Yeah, that's really cool. It reminds me of when we were just sort of researching before you came on the show, there was a quote that you had. I think it was with, I can't remember if it was like ID, it was like an Irish publication, but essentially, like, enterprise companies in Ireland and more broadly across Europe are increasingly demanding flexibility, control, and performance from their payment stack. That was a quote from you, and it's more telling. I think that was in November, maybe. And I guess it's more telling of like not only in payments, but of the broader technology industry as well. People are looking for more flexibility instead of like single-use tools generally. Is that kind of what you're referring to? It's this flexibility, this control, this.
Yeah, like so there's core systems that businesses will use that they can't live without. And then there are systems that they like, but they would like more flexibility in that to, you know, if you use the payments world, hey, I love working with provider X, but in this country, I want to use provider Y, and here I want to use provider Z. Stitching that together ultimately becomes they need to do it themselves, or they work with a company like us who will basically stitch that fabric and solve all the problems beneath that. And so that's generalistically the problem in payments today, because the biggest issue is fragmentation. Fragmentation just exists across the board. Ultimately, what merchants want is control about who they work with, but they want a organization layer, if you want to call it that, or an infrastructure layer that they can complement with their existing technology stack or replace. So ultimately, then they have the control commercially, experience-wise, technology-wise. They make the decision about what they continue to use and what they don't use. And inherently, for most SaaS companies, that's sort of the polar opposite to what they want. For us, we want to enable that. That's the opportunity we're pursuing, to empower the merchant to make that control, to make that decision about who they want to work with and how and why.
Yeah, that makes sense. I have another one quickly I'd love to follow up with, but I kept seeing, and I'm not sure if this is like a Payrailz branded type line, or this was a line directly from you. I was trying to distinguish it last night, but I couldn't. But this sort of like Frankenstein stack, something was coming up like a lot. So solving like the Frankenstein sort of ledger, and it's like Payrailz often talks about like killing the Frankenstein payment stack. I'd love to hear more about that. If it's something from you, it's essentially, the Frankenstein problem is no longer just about like pipes like the PSPs, but it's actually about the reconciliation. And then the broader question, like, is the CFO now a bigger stakeholder in your sales process than the CTO? Like the Frankenstein, the Frankenstein problem, I think it's being called.
Yeah, well, so if you look at traditional enterprises who aren't payment companies or aren't specialists in that domain like we are, then architecturally you would define us as they are building a Frankenstein smorgasbord of APIs stitched together. So I don't think we've called it a Frankenstein, but I think you could argue that it is a Frankenstein. They're putting all these different components together. And by doing that, the data, the logic, all of the premises that you want on your business, you have to try and stitch that logic across multiple providers, which means it sort of becomes like a Frankenstein. You're borrowing bits and pieces from everybody, right? Yeah. And so what we ultimately are trying to define is saying, hey, you can continue with that Frankenstein, but we can complement that with a best-in-class payments infrastructure platform where you can use other components of our platform, or you can replace a large component of that stack to allow us to streamline those operations. And so as you were saying, there's like two parts to it. There's the technical aspect of simplicity of integration and management and how it works with core applications within the customer. But then the other part of it as well, for the office of the CFO, one of the major issues I've run into in all my times in payments, you may sell a deal, but the office of the CFO says, hey, how do we reconcile it? How do we report on it? How do we make sure our order data and our transactional data is aligned? And so because we're agnostic by design, we effectively solve a lot of those problems because we obviously have modules around reconciliation. We have modules around unified reporting, around performance and fee monitoring. So even if you're using multiple providers, we can be the fabric that stitches all that together for the office of the CFO, while also for the technical teams, we can have a single integration layer, if you want to call it that. So they don't have to work with all of these individual parts. We can be the layer that actually has all those for them, and they can switch it on by design.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so when a prospect comes to you guys, is it we'll tell us what you want and we'll help you build the almost like the infrastructure behind it, and it's like every customer is different, or is it kind of not one size fits all, but do you know what I mean? Is it you're building specifically for that customer and their like specific needs?
Yeah, no. So if we had to be bespoke, we wouldn't really be a software company. We would be a service integrator in that sense. But of course, customers do inform our roadmap a lot, right? So we work a lot with our existing customers and our prospects. They do help inform us about what's value for them. And so it is a little bit of both, to be fair. But like primarily, we have a roadmap. We have a clarity of what we're building and where we're going. Obviously, we validate that with customers. And then when customers come on with feature requests that they want and they're keen to use it, if it makes sense for us to do it, of course, we will build it. But have we built every single setup that we need globally? No, of course not. We're still scaling. And so the customer is the best source of feedback and inspiration for us. So we're constantly validating and verifying everything that we do with customers.
Yeah. Speaking of roadmaps, I mean, previously Payrailz has described itself as the operating system for profitable growth. I would love to know sort of how is this, what are you guys looking forward to in 2026? What does this mean? Is this, I'm assuming this is like a large part of what you guys are doing for the next coming year.
Yeah, look, a core element of our prioritization is really again around that leverage and control. So, we want to help teams make decisions faster without effectively having to rebuild their technology stack. And so we want to move to a world where they can actively optimize payments and get the right output out of that, be that cost or performance or customer experience. If we really think about like innovations we're looking at building on, it's really continuing to do that joint build with customers, but also start building out an intelligence layer that sits across our infrastructure. And so I'm sure you've had lots of AI companies through this forum. And so, you can't ignore that. But like I would say, I would really call it an intelligence layer that sits on top of our infrastructure that, again, empowers our customers to be informed, to have clarity. And once they have those two elements, that gives them the control and the ability to make the right decisions for their business, be that optimizing different things around growth expansion into new markets, or optimizing their cost base, or optimizing their authorization performance or fraud performance. Our core is giving the intelligence to their merchants to allow them to do that, while on the same vein, solving all the complexity that exists in the context of understanding those elements between either reconciliation or things like understanding their fees and their costs that they're paying across the multitude of providers.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask about, so obviously like digital wallets is now like the kind of thing, we've moved from like cash to then cards, digital wallet stuff. Like, is there anything like on chain? We have a few like kind of stable coin companies coming on the show. I wanted to know whether Payrails is ever that's ever part of the kind of roadmap for Payrails or not at all.
Yeah, look, it's on the roadmap. It's something we're continuously assessing with our customers. Obviously, there's some really interesting use cases around money movement and the instant settlement of those funds. And then also a lot of remittance companies are looking at that from an erosion of FX, if you want to call that, from a cost perspective. Obviously, that potentially over time, as that global acceptance of that grows, we may start using that in terms of global treasury. And so the movement of money and the settlement of money and how you do that. So 100%, we're looking at that with our merchants. It is on our roadmap. And so it's something we're acutely looking at because there's a lot of noise about it. What we're really looking for is the application of use cases that enterprise customers want to adopt. And so there's a lot of curiosity and digging into that. And so we're just looking out for what are the core use cases that have broad application that will benefit our merchants.
Yeah, because it's interesting because we keep having the conversation where, as you mentioned, there's a lot of noise going on, and as there's now starting to be more application in 2026, there's been predictions where this year is the application is going to start to kind of really feed through. As someone who is kind of very high up in the company that can kind of go and capitalize on something like that, how do you think about it in a sense that? Are you kind of just waiting for customers to kind of come to you with a problem that you guys might not have originally solved, or within this kind of moving on chain stable coins, or are you going to try and kind of be more proactive about it? How does it kind of work, or how are you thinking about that?
Yeah, look, so I think for us, ultimately, I've probably said it about 5 times, is how we work. We build a lot of product through product ideation, but ultimately working with merchants, understanding use cases and problems we're trying to solve for. The primary output you see today is really about instant settlement and cheaper transmission of money effectively. So of course we're speaking to customers about that. We need to find use cases with them that they're keen on to delve into and solve those problems. And so ultimately, that's the continuous conversation. It's almost the same vein as agentic commerce, right? Again, that's a topic we're acutely looking at. But again, one of the questions we get a lot is, in agentic commerce is what's the consumer adoption of agentic commerce? And so I think with all of, ACP and UCP have been launched, and I think Microsoft just launched with Stripe recently and Copilot, all of those surfaces are being transmitted into a checkout effectively. But the core question is, are we going to see consumers adoption into those cases? And so they're the questions our customers are looking out for. So they're biding their time to see, hey, when does that happen? But of course, we and they need to be ready And so again, that's why we're sort of delving into those topics. But ultimately, we need to find the use cases that will then transmit into value for our customers to say, hey, we want to do this. And so they're very active topics, to be super transparent, but of course, as every company is. But like, I think once we get to a point where we can find very strong use cases that drive demonstrable value, that again give the control and access to the merchant, then those are when we'll start launching and going big with those products.
That's awesome. That's such an interesting space, the like agentic, like AI commerce space. It's as you say, like it's such a hot topic right now. I mean, what other areas with Payrails, like how is AI? Because you so early at Stripe, you've gone through the whole trajectory there, and maybe sort of like maybe when AI might not have been as involved with what they were doing, I'm sure it's sort of rampant now within all of their systems. But how has that changed from your perspective? Right, you're probably well poised to maybe discuss something in terms of like how has AI specifically changed the payment space? Because it must have changed a bunch from your time at Stripe, right?
Yeah, look, I think the most logical, AI is sort of reframed machine learning. Working at Microsoft, machine learning has been around for quite a long time. And so there are a lot of ML models, primarily in fraud. And so they exist, but I think you're starting to see the infusion, I would say, of AI within the category in the context of fintech. And so I would say it's infused rather than becoming the product. I think for us, it's a little bit different in that because we're trying to empower the merchant and give the merchant control, intelligence is core of that, right? And so building an intelligence layer that can inform them on the attributes of their payment stack about what works well, what doesn't, what they should change. Because if you take payments in general, outside of the payments community, it's quite, and it's a domain that's not well understood. And so how do you empower the generalist or the CIO to be empowered or the CFO to be empowered to make the right effective decisions? Because payments is really at the intersection of profitability. Because it's on revenue, its cost, and its operations, it's quite all encompassing. And so we want merchants to be proactive when it comes to payments. It is a strategic lever in driving growth from consumer experience, accelerating conversion at checkout, while also optimizing performance and cost and all of those vectors. That's where AI has a strong place to play, right? And so we're shaping that in the context of our current infrastructure and our data to inform our merchants saying, hey, you can optimize performance by doing X, or hey, we can reduce cost by Y. Do you want us to do that? And so like there's this inference that AI will do it all for you. I don't think there's any business in the world today that will allow an AI to make multi-billion-dollar decisions in changing the flow of their payments. Not today anyway, maybe 5 to 10 years from now. But the core is like you're giving the intelligence and the information and the context to make that decision. That's the hard part, right? Yeah. And then giving the faith that this is the right thing to do. So the other aspect that we're focusing on is the ability to have experimentation without fear of ruining production, right? So you do need to be able to experiment and iterate. And so if we can build an intelligence layer that delivers that, then allow the ability to experiment and test and iterate, and then the ability to roll that out and track and govern, that's for us is where we see AI as a really interesting layer.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know we're nearly coming up to time, but I have another question. Just I'd love to ask it's about. I saw that Payrails had opened a hub in Ireland. I think it was in November, just gone previous year November. I'd love to ask you. Like why specifically in Ireland, and what is the ecosystem like there at the moment? Like why was that sort of a go-to choice for you guys?
Yeah. Well, I am Irish, so I do know the market quite well. But like, I think the major reason why, in all transparency, is, and you hear this a lot, is access to talent. And so effectively what's been built in Dublin is you see every major tech company in the world, the startup scene is starting to accelerate there, which is fantastic. There's a lot of innovation happening in the market. But I think more generalistically, when we're looking to build out a brilliant company, you need brilliant talent. And so we're in Berlin and another of our markets, and we have amazing talent there. But the talent pool is very, very broad in Dublin. And so realistically, the major reason was talent access. And so because if you understand the nature of Dublin, everything's within a 4-mile radius. And so getting staff, if you get people, everyone's proximity-wise within a very, very small pool, which makes it very, very attractive because you can get great talent, and networking-wise makes it very easy to attract those people. Because once you start getting a hype, you pretty much hear it around the city that people start knocking on your doors, they become keen, right? And so a lot of recent tech companies have come there, and all the AI companies are, and so you see everyone sort of circulating around those types of companies. For ourselves, we want to be part of that, and because we are a high growth fintech, there's a lot of those other similar companies in that market. So there's a lot of learnings and potentially partnerships and optionality we can get from there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of that in like European hubs now, aren't we? Like London, the talent density is incredibly high.
That's what people keep saying.
Something that can be often overlooked in that sort of SF, like UK or SF EU debate, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. Like, there's a lot of great talent, obviously, in the US, but like, there's amazing talent in Europe. It's just getting access to that and giving them the opportunities to participate. Ireland is an island, and so it's on the edge of Europe, but like it's in between the US and Europe, and so I think those benefits allow us to get a lot of talent here. And because there's a lot of fintechs and software companies here, the access to talent is fantastic. So that's the major reason why we're here, and long may it continue.
Yeah, indeed. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We're a minute over, and we started 5 minutes early. And thank you so much for spending 25 minutes of your day with us. We really appreciate it.
No worries. Look, hey, thanks for having me on. Much appreciated, and best of luck with ETN. It's fantastic. You guys doing a great job. So well done.
Thank you so much, Ed. Really appreciate it, mate. Have a good one.
See you soon. Great to meet you.
Gents. Bye.
Cheers. Bye. Awesome stuff. Ed Moore, CRO at Payrails, everybody.
There you go. Just a quick word from our sponsors. Airwallex, leave outdated business banking behind with Airwallex, the all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business, multi-currency accounts, corporate cards, expense management, online payments, all in one place.
Yes,
go to airwallex.com.
Up next is Siavash, co-founder of Stiller.
Let's go. They've just
be digging
launched.
into. I tell you what, we can do his launch video.
Let's do the launch video now.
Yeah, let's get that up. Are you gonna play it at the same time as me?
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, because otherwise I can't hear it.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like your style.
It's a sad day.
So let's do.
You can't hear. Anyway, today we're launching Stiller. Kaj and I spent years building Ticktail and later Shop and Shop Pay, a Shopify together. When ChatGPT launched in late 2022, we knew a fundamental shift was happening. Eventually, it was undeniable where things were heading. We left Shopify and started something new, Stiller. Stiller was a bet on a future that didn't exist yet. For months, it only barely worked, but each month we got closer, and eventually when our design partners started demoing Stiller to us and how it was...
Their design partners are nuts, by the way.
Oh, really? Yeah, how it was part of their teams, we knew it was no longer a bet, and it worked.
Boom. I've got the video up here.
What they're betting on, it says AI gives individuals superpowers, but it moves the bottleneck. Everyone can be 10 times faster. The problem isn't capability anymore, it's context, real-time context across entire teams and organizations. The decisions made in meetings just now, the Slack thread that changed the project plan, the insight your team agents did while exploring the code base.
Boom.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, let's watch.
We're going to play. We're going to go and play his video.
I'm watching it on LinkedIn.
Ooh.
All these tunes, they're just great.
Yeah.
Turn any meeting into a collaborative AI note. Already.
Kind of vibing with this tune right now.
So it's just something you just like live in. You can just live.
Dude, and that's connected to everything. That was like cursor, Slack. You're just pressing buttons. It's linear.
Mad.
So it's writing the PR right now.
Say again.
It's just done it for them.
Yeah.
I love this song. You're gonna have to ask Siavash what this song is.
Very snazzy.
Yeah. Boom.
Boom.
Little Stiller demo before Siavash joins us.
Very exciting. No more docs dumped into copy pasted prompts. I don't know what's going on today.
That was a bit of a
real time understanding, streaming across meetings, Slack, GitHub, Linear, and all the other tools where your work happens. Still, it's the teammate who was in the room and who helps you and your team get the work done.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, he's gonna come on,
Wild.
drop some notes on Stiller and what it is. Essentially, the reason I got so excited for it was because I feel that a lot of enterprise players
It feels closer to AGI than
it's Aggie. This is Aggie, but
it is Aggie.
The reason that I think it's cool is because I feel like a lot of enterprise players are trying to build like some sort of like agentic flow or like an agentic sort of like agent into their systems that's like trained specifically on their own context, right? And like I feel like Stiller is a pretty good step towards that direction. Like you can see it's using multiple different as like APIs, like some multiple different products and stuff that it's using. And it was like the first time that he showed it, like me working live, which like got me kind of pumped because it kind of the Slack sort of connection is the maddest thing. How it was literally marketing itself in design partners Slacks because they'd be like, hey, I'm using Stiller and this thing doesn't work at Siavash. And then Siavash would just like reply to that at Stiller.
Make it work.
Hey, can you make this work? And it would like review their message.
Yeah.
It would write the code. It would send emails to the design partners letting them know that their like request had been filled. Like, so that's why it was kind of sick.
Just jobs just don't need to be done anymore.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's mentioned who their design partners are. I really want to say them, but I'm not sure if it's public, so I don't think I can say them.
We'll wait.
Oh, no, he says here. We've been working quite with teams at Spotify, Ramp, Lovable, and Lagora.
There you go.
So, like, just in terms of the lineup, it's pretty nuts. Design partner
Well, to be fair,
lineup.
I actually... I mentioned Lagora right at the beginning of the show. So if that's good, then it's public.
Yeah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Thank God for that.
Anyway, Spectre, be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade with Spectre. Go to tryspectre.com. Harness the power of live data and AI-driven analysis to outsmart the competition and make confident decisions in private markets. Go to tryspectre.com.
Yes, sir.
2
do we
minutes,
have time to?
Let's jump in. Let's jump into the town square.
Let's do it. So
where do you want to go?
I think just start from the top. I'd love to just get a nice chronological run of this because it's kind of like dated to newest, most recent.
Yeah. To be fair, we went on to the CEO named Ryan and then Ed jumped in. So
we didn't have it up there, did we?
No,
I don't think so. Okay. Well, look, let's just start with this. This is kind of interesting.
Every decade we get a new internet ad business. This is an interesting one. So, Signal. So basically, every decade-ish, we will get new internet ad businesses. Question mark. 2000s was Google. 2010s was Facebook. 2020s, OpenAI. Incredibly fascinating.
So Signal.
I mean, they can't. Yeah. I mean, is Google not also in the play of OpenAI in the 2020s?
I think in terms of like launching large scale, I think OpenAI is like.
But they just launched their new ad. They just launched their new ad.
Within their shopping ads. AI tool though.
Yeah,
like within their shopping AI tool. So I don't think it's as like gung ho as OpenAI doing this. But there were some nut stats on like I think it was Google made Facebook made $6 or $8 per user when they introduced ads in 2010. That was like the metric that they could kind of calculate off. Like per user, we make $6 or $8. I can't remember which number it was. Dollars off each user. And with like I know they have over like I swear it's over 1 billion people have Facebook. I'm pretty sure. Which is like a nut stat, right? So you're just kind of clicking your fingers, ads. Here's 6 billion / 8 billion, whatever it is. OpenAI has, I think it's last time it was kind of going public, it was 850 million users a week. So like that's got to be nuts. We have Siavash in the house. Okay, I'm gonna play. Siavash, what's going on, dude? We just finished playing the Stiller demo, by the way. Yeah. No, all good. All
No,
good,
you're
all good,
good,
all
you're
good.
good.
We're just checking with our producer to see if we can bring you live onto the stream. We can see you, we can hear you, but our lovely viewers and listeners at home can't yet.
We just need the thumbs up.
Waiting for the magic
Here we
thumbs
go.
up. We are live. We're good to go. We're
Really
gonna
nice
play
to
the
meet you, Siavash.
trumpet, Siavash,
There you go.
to celebrate. Stilla is live. We are out here.
Live as of 2 hours ish ago, 3 hours maybe.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, we went live this morning. We updated landing page last night just to make sure everything was working, and then we pushed the button this morning. And
so
No
cool.
way. Congratulations.
it's a big day for us. I
We'd
mean,
love to see it.
we've been working on this for almost a year now, and when you anticipate this launch and you have all these ideas, like so much of Stilla came from our frustration throughout our career about everything we've done, everything we built, all the things we want to solve. But as you do that, as you build a product that way, you keep questioning your own assumptions about things, right? So we onboarded some incredible design partners. Some of them like companies like Ramp, just recently Shopify, Legora, Lovable, and some really cool startups that are currently or yet less known than those brands. And they sort of helped us validate, but it's not until you actually open up the doors and let anyone sign up when like, does this actually solve a problem that most people are having? Or is this a product that we built just for ourselves and a few very similar companies, or does this generalize well? So that's what we're trying to figure out today. And so far, it looks very, very promising.
That's
Amazing.
awesome. That's awesome.
Congrats.
Well, there's so much just within what you've just said that I want to ask loads of questions about. Before I do that, could you maybe again, we've just shown the demo, but maybe it would be best for you to explain kind of high level, what's the elevator pitch? What is Stilla? What have you guys built? And why have you built it as well?
I think the easiest way to describe Stilla is to think of it as a teammate. It's an AI teammate that lives within the tools where you already work. Like everywhere where you can collaborate with your colleagues today, say Slack, Linear, in GitHub, like everywhere product development companies tend to collaborate and work, Stilla exists there. You can, tag it in a Slack channel, have it act on a conversation you just had, or have it go out and do work across all your other tools. So we connect to basically every product or tool within the startup stack or the software stack. And you can task Stilla to go out and do work across those tools. It can write code. It can manage entire linear projects, manage your tasks. It can manage your documents in Notion and Google Drive. It can build prototypes with Lovable. It can send emails. It can send Slack messages, and so much more. Like it integrates basically whatever tool that you have in your company, Stilla will integrate into, and you will be able to instruct it to do work. And Stilla also captures meeting notes. I actually have Stilla running for this conversation just so I have record of it. And that helps Stilla understand everything in real time, everything that's happening across the company in real time. And as you share that context with your colleagues, their Stillas will also have that context. So everybody in the company can act on the same understanding around priorities and decisions and what really matters. And all of that happens in real time. We call it streaming contexts. So Stilla basically streams the context around everything that's happening across all your tools and to all your colleagues. So we no longer have people moving in different directions.
Wow,
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Was that streaming context was the coined term there?
Yeah, it was a good content. Go on.
No, just saying, like, I'm sure you've been in a situation where you had some documents, like these AI agents to begin with, they're incredibly capable, right? So, and I'm sure you've sort of had documents in one place, another text snippet somewhere else, maybe a video somewhere, and sort of try to pull all of this together to have an AI agent help you do the work. Now, Stilla does all of that automatically. So say you were in a meeting, Stilla has full context of that meeting, all the conversations, who was in that room, who decided what, and all your Slack conversation, all your documents on Drive. So you don't need to do that, copy pasting between these tools and try to bring context from one place to the other. Stilla has it all. So all you need to do is say, hey, remember that decision we just made or last week in that session. I want to start building that. Can you start prototyping it for me? And Stilla can be your code partner writing that code for you, or even generate images and whatever you kind of need to be able to do the work.
Yeah. A sick example of like the context thing. When you and I was chatting the other day, Siavash, and I was getting a sort of pre-look at the demo, which was awesome, and thank you for that. A really cool example was like we were talking and we had Stiller up together, and Stiller had and we were talking about the show obviously, and Siavash coming on, and Stiller had understood that it matched with an email that he'd sent to like an investor where there was some context about the show, and it had prepared like a Gmeet like ready. All Siavash needed to do was just sort of like press like okay, like. And it had tied together like 3 different separate.
You just would never even think about.
But it wasn't even mentions of ETN. It was mentions of like maybe a podcast, maybe a show, and it tied it all together like really accurately, and like created some sort of like final CTA based off context from multiple different apps related to our conversation live as it was happening.
Yeah. I want to ask like, and obviously like as a person, I'm not technical, right? And so I want to ask just generally when, a year ago when you kind of were having this idea with your co-founder and you wanted to build something like this and say, hey, look, like I want an AI to have full context of everything and be able to kind of execute things and make, I guess, semi-strategy decisions in what you just mentioned. Like, how do you even go about starting kind of something like this? It seems like a mammoth task that, a lot of AI companies struggle with the fact that they don't have full context of everything. I think that's like a big hurdle. And it seems like, Stiller solves that.
Yeah, I think it's such a good question. And in hindsight, it all looks so clear. Like standing here today on launch day and knowing that we have a product that actually works. Of course, like this is such a, it's such an obvious product. But when we started about a year ago, we knew that the AI capabilities at that time were not ready to support the type of use case that we wanted to support. So in the early days of Stilla, like for months, we were banging our head against the wall because it worked, say, 30% of the time. And that was internally within our own company, where we fully understood sort of the structure of the tools that we had, like the stack was set up in such a way that all the things were connected. And gradually, so on one end, we were churning, like improving the product month over month. Like every month it got like 5% better, 5% better. And in parallel, and this was an early bet we did, was that these models would get better quarterly. Like the race is just so aggressive that every quarter we anticipate a meaningful shift in capabilities. So we sort of extrapolated, like, okay, how long do we have until we think the model is going to be good enough to be able to do these type of tasks, as in actually operating as a coworker, not just a summarizer agent, which there's a gazillion numbers of. And about 6 months ago, we started onboarding some external partners because it started working pretty well within our own sort of data set, still as our company's knowledge base. And we said, look, we need to evaluate if this works for companies that are structured differently. So we onboarded, I think Legora was one of our earliest design partners. Very brave of them to very early jump on this and try this out with us. They've been incredible. But there's been a bunch of those companies. And, again, even with them, we saw early stage, it worked like 50, 60, 70% at the time. And towards the end of last year, I think it finally clicked for us. For quite a long time, it had worked really, really well internally. But it was when our design partners started demoing Stilla to us and showing the things that Stilla was doing for them and sort of treating it as a coworker, how there were multiple people in the company collaborating with a single agent. And they were so proud to show that to us. That's when we knew, okay, this has now reached a point where it's so reliable that it's going to be, highly valuable for most type of companies in this space.
Yeah, there was a sick moment. Can we talk about like the Slack stuff, like how they, how design partners? I didn't want to go too into it because I'm not sure if we were allowed to talk about it, but like how design partners were reacting to, the fact that Stilla was just kind of marketing itself in these conversations, right? It was they'd at you with a problem, and then you just at Stilla, and then like, can you tell that story because it's really cool?
Right. So there's multiple parts of this story. One was from day one, we wanted to build AI for a multiplayer scenario. We claim that we've been in this single player AI mode where everybody has their own AI agents, and sort of context lives within your ChatGPT alone or within your Claude alone. We wanted to build something where multiple people could collaborate and that context would be shared. So one of the first things we did with Stilla was to figure out how do you enable so that the AI agent understands that there are multiple people interacting with it at the same time, and be able to sort of orchestrate those requests and tasks and figure out who's who and who should they listen to for different types of context. That was step one. And once we had solved that, like, okay, now the natural interface had always been these tools that are collaborative, like Slack and GitHub and Linear. But once we had multiplayer, we could actually plug it into those tools and say, hey, now you can use Stilla here. And the cool thing about the multiplayer part of Stilla is that you can observe your colleagues using Stilla. So that's what we started seeing in some of the design partners, where one person used Stilla publicly in a channel, and suddenly 5 of their peers were like, holy shit, did it actually just do that? Can I do that? And they jump into the thread and start tacking on, like, okay, can you also do this? Can you also do that? And within minutes, you have 5 more people who deeply understood, like, oh, okay, this is a capable AI agent that can actually do work for me. And then they went into their own team channels and did the same thing. And it pretty quickly starts spreading within the company. And the benefit of that is, as it spreads and more people use it, Stilla just gets better for everybody else. The more it's used within the company, the more context Stilla has about everything that's going on and what is priority, what are people actually working on. And I think that's sort of a key pillar of why Stilla is so useful for these companies. It learns, and it sort of kind of organically makes its way into your workflows. Like, you don't need to change your company in any way. People are just naturally going to adopt it because it's going to be the fastest way of getting things done. And as they do so, it's just going to get faster.
Yeah, it's we spoke to Maxime at Beside, and he was talking about the importance of how AI is going to start to become like more invisible. Like, it's not going to be a thing that you like go to. You don't go to a text, a prompt box or anything like that. It's just ingrained into workflow. And obviously Stilla is, exactly the same in the fact that it works, invisibly. Do you have any take on like the kind of, I guess, future and the way that we're going and where the models are at the moment on that kind of being a reality for like a lot of companies like around the globe, as AI just becomes this kind of this foundational layer within workflows of kind of every company? Is that where we're kind of like heading, I guess?
I think one of the key principles we had with Stilla, and it's a reflection of where we are as a society. It's about trust. Like, how much do we trust these AI models today? And that trust is basically a function of how capable they generally are. And because models can sometimes make mistakes still, and they may even interpret your request differently than you anticipated. So a very central part of Stilla has been ensuring that the user is in control of the actions Stilla ultimately takes. So you can be a good design partner with you, but once you start doing something that is potentially destructive or is modifying something, there's always a human in the loop element here. Sure, you can tell it that you can grant it permission to just do those things automatically, but at some point, there's been a human that said, okay, this action is now cool, you can do this. Over time, as sort of our trust with these models go up, we think that the number of touch points where you require a human in the loop will simply just start going down. And we think more and more of this will gradually just get fully automated. Perhaps it's going to end up being invisible, or it just takes a very different shape than it has today. And sort of that would eliminate this, I guess, blockage on humans, which we ultimately think is going to become the next big bottleneck for velocity for teams. And we can do a deep dive on that as well. But the key thing, even as these AI agents become capable of operating sort of fully autonomously over long periods of time, is we think for quite some time, maybe it's just a human trait, but we will expect that there's someone responsible in the chain. We will want to be able to go back and say, okay, who decided this? Who sort of signed off on this change? Or where did this change come from? Not so much to sort of have somebody to blame, more so just to be able to trace decisions back and be able to understand how things came to be. So over the next at least 12 months, we think humans will continue to be, in some degree, part of the loop. Beyond that, I think it's valid to say that these will kind of operate basically fully autonomously over very long periods of time. And you could say they're invisible, but ultimately they may actually be the key part of driving change forward within organizations and teams.
Yeah, they're autonomous, I guess. Like you can see them working, but they just kind of work.
The future question is an interesting one, and it's something that we've asked a few people on the show before, but this sort of like this horizontal agentic layer, as opposed to like a fine-tuned like sort of vertical type thing, right? Like I remember, and you'll know this as well. Like when I was at Convergence, like it was a horizontal browser-based agent. You know, it's pretty different to most things that were out there at the time. But the problem that we would run into quite frequently is that when we were even speaking with design partners, it's kind of like, well, what do you do? And it was so, well, we do everything. It's horizontal, like every department, so it's very hard to like narrow in on things specifically early on, like especially like on the GTM side in terms of like getting product feedback and stuff like that. And I've seen people have takes on the horizontal space. I'd say Stiller isn't like Stiller. I love the fact that like it's got these sort of native integrations to all these different tools, right? So it's not exactly horizontal. It has the verticals that it can sort of specialize in as well, but it's kind of a combination of both. It seems like you're choosing to do this on hard mode, which is quite funny. But like, what are your takes for that sort of horizontal? Would you say Stiller is horizontal as well? Like, do you think that would be a fair assumption to make, or?
So Stiller is to some degree horizontal, but that's more a design choice rather than sort of a technical limitation. The way we built it is we actually have Stiller write the integrations that we provide in Stiller, so we can expand them rather quickly. It's more so to explain to a specific audience at this point what Stiller can do. Because if you say it's a teammate across all verticals, there's a lot of type of different work that happens in all kinds of companies. And we said, look, let's start with tools and products that are used within software development companies, product development organizations, because that's the domain we know best. And if we can make sure that it works there, we can very quickly expand this into other type of verticals where you operate collaboratively. There's a team, and that team would benefit from being able to collaboratively use AI agents. So the verticalization is more a consequence of like the GTM challenge you mentioned. We want to make sure that our first audience deeply understands what Stiller is. And when we say to that group, it's a teammate, it can help you build your product, it can help you plan your projects, it can help you communicate with customers and partners. It kind of clicks pretty quickly. Oh, okay, those are tasks that, some of them I like to do, some of them feel like work around the work for me. And if I can put those tasks on the AI agent and even automate some of those tasks with Stiller, great. Then I can focus on the craft. Then I can focus on the thing that I am particularly passionate about, which typically tends to be the type of thing that we do best. And to a large degree, that was why we built Stiller. We wanted to free individuals to be able to do what they do best in their craft, rather than having to do all the stuff around it, like stakeholder management, reporting status, aligning decisions with all the others, make sure that the decisions that were made are sort of distributed across the company so everybody knows what's happening. Because those tend to be the type of things that slow organizations down. And we said, look, if we can automate that, then that's going to be tremendously valuable the moment your company starts to scale. And I think ultimately, if we have these AI agents individually and we move 10 times as fast or 100 times as fast, whatever you want, if we are not aligned and are moving in different directions, it doesn't matter how quickly we're moving, we're just pulling in different directions. So one of the key parts of Stiller was to make sure that there is alignment. And for there to be alignment, you need to have automatic information distribution within a company. That's sort of the streaming context side of Stiller. And yeah, I think those are central features of what the product is today.
I love the streaming context phrase. That's so cool. That should be you should get that coined and patented and written in ink. Have it quoted under COR.
The reason we want to have it streaming, just to sort of articulate why that is so important to us and why we talk so much about alignment internally. So right now we're talking about alignment with humans. We have organizations with humans, and we said, look, we as humans need to be aligned to move in the same direction. But once you solve the problem of alignment with humans, you're very close to solve it for AI agents. Which means as we sort of approach a point where these AI agents can operate 24/7 autonomously, the most important thing will be, are they working towards the direction where you want them to go? And if we solve alignment for an organization, then we can also solve it naturally for AI agents in that organization. And we anticipate that that's going to be a quite exciting future where a lot of very incredible things will be created.
Yeah.
That's good.
We're coming up to time. Do you have more questions?
Do you have time for a few more questions?
Yeah, I'm just watching Slack notifications about signups. So yeah,
it's a good place to be. I just wanted to just ask about the raise. And just, I mean, like, I don't feel like I know enough about it. Like, can you just tell us a bit more about like the raise? How, we know it was GC. And I think the figures are public now, I'm pretty sure, in terms of what you raised and what the valuation was. But I'd love to hear it from you. Like, how did the process go? How's it been working with GC?
Yeah. So when Kai and I set out to build Stilla, we didn't really have a product. Like, we didn't even have designs. We had a text file, like a literal .txt file that says the vision of, like, our vision of how the future work will be. And we had 3 phases in there. And they basically outline the different phases we're going through now. Right now, we said we're in phase 1. We want to be able to build this autonomous AI agent that acts as a teammate. And serendipitously, I had a sort of a phone call scheduled from the time when I left Shopify with one of our old investors at TikTok. I just mentioned what we were thinking about. I just sort of gave him some bits and pieces of that vision document. And he got so excited. He's like, look, you got to come to London. You got to meet the partner team. I don't know. We're not sure we're going to raise at this point. We're still just exploring this. He's like, no, please come. So we scheduled a few meetings as we're going to London for a few days. And one of those ended up being with GC. And I think that's been one of the best VC meetings I've ever had. I remember sitting with Alex, Momeni, and Jeanette, and we sort of started talking about what we were trying to do. We went a little bit deeper than the vision document. Like, okay, this is kind of how we envision this product working. And within 10 minutes, that turned from a pitching session into a jamming session together with them. Like, they were riffing off of sort of this crazy vision we had at that time. Like, we said some really bold things, and this is late 2024. Like, one of the claims we made was, we don't believe that coding editors will be around for much longer. We think most people will pretty soon end up operating directly with an AI agent rather than sitting in an editor. And the comparison I made was, I'm coming from a software developer background. Like, we don't really look at assembly code anymore, unless you do like reverse engineering or security research. You don't look at assembly code. And I think even scripting languages or higher level languages like Python, JavaScript, Ruby, whatever, are going to end up the same path as assembly. We're going to be talking to these AI agents, and they're going to produce incredible, like, code of incredible quality. Every now and then we might look just like we looked at assembly code, but for the majority of people, we're just going to task AI agent to build things. And they were like, yeah, we agree. But what's cool about that is where other people and other investors like, okay, we kind of don't understand, like, we kind of get that you think the world's going to change. We don't really understand how, like, we don't understand how you're going to approach this. They took an entirely different approach. They're like, okay, this, like, let's build on this together. And from that meeting, I knew that this was the company we want to, like, this was a partner we want to work with. And Kai and I had some strong ideas of how we wanted to sort of structure our financing around how much dilution we wanted to have. And we actually got term sheets at much higher valuations, but ultimately ended up going with General Catalyst because we liked them, and we got the money we needed to build the first phase of Stilla. And the rest is history. Here we are.
So sick. It's so cool. Yeah, we've run over time, but we have an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so
doing
much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
It's been awesome, guys.
Please keep us updated. We'd love to have you back on. When Stilla goes out and raises a mega Series A round, come and hang with us again.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, guys.
Good luck with everything.
See you, dude.
Bye.
Ciao.
Amazing stuff. We have some breaking news, but just before we have breaking news, Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
What's this breaking news?
The breaking news is, I've lost it. Here we go. Andreas Klinger. So at her speech, Ursula von der Leyen in Davos right now. Yeah. The ultimate aim is to create a new, truly European company structure. Yeah. We call it EU Inc., with a single and simple set
No way.
of rules that will apply seamlessly all over our union. Another major milestone in turning EU Inc. into a reality, says Wojtek Horner. He is the comms at Index Ventures. She said in her speech, so while on paper, if you go onto the... Are you sharing a screen?
No, let me share this, sorry.
You can share that, but this is from the X post from Andreas. So while on paper the market of 450 million Europeans is open to them, it is far more complicated in reality. And that acts as a handbrake on the growth and profit potential of companies. This is why we need a new approach. We will soon put forward our 28th regime. The ultimate aim is to create a new truly European company structure. We call it EU Inc. We need a single and simple set of rules that will apply seamlessly all over our union so that business can operate across member states much more easily. Our entrepreneurs will be able to register a company in any member state within 48 hours, fully online. They will enjoy the same capital regime all across the EU. Ultimately, we need a system where companies can do business and raise financing seamlessly across Europe, just as easily as in uniform markets like the US or China. If we get this right, and if we move fast enough, this will not only help EU companies grow, but it will attract investment from across the world. That is pretty mega. Well, no, seriously mega. Congratulations to Andreas Klinger.
Trumpets for sure. He says,
amazing,
WTF?
Andreas Klinger, he's having the week of his life.
Now.
Let's
From
go.
Impossible to inevitable at EU Inc. petition for the win. I'm going to give it a live favorite and retweet on stream.
There we go.
That's huge. That must be so huge. I kind of love how he was how he didn't know that was going to happen as well. They must have just
Well, we just got a bunch of we've got a bunch of WhatsApps. Andreas has just WhatsApped us and just said, "Crazy, right?" Question mark.
Oh, we should have pinged him saying we're covering it right now.
Yeah.
Let's let him know.
I'll say just covered it. Anyway,
live.
3 minutes before we have our third guest of the day, Alexandros Pantalis, co-founder and CEO of Phagos. But before that, let's jump into the town square, if you wouldn't mind.
Yes. Sorry, just pinging Mr. Klinger.
Just pinging Mr. Klinger.
We are off to the town square. Which one are we pulling up this time?
This is the second one. Make you coffee at home to get financial freedom.
What is this?
This is just hilarious.
It's another article.
Yeah. How to achieve financial independence in 1 week. The only thing in the article is make your coffee at home.
Oh, I literally just tried to press into it to reveal the full article, but that is the full article. Okay, how to achieve financial independence in 1 week. Make your coffee at home. I always saw those. I always saw those. There were those like posts that was always like, like financial freedom is achieved by you spend like £500 a year on coffee. It's like that's not gonna, that's not gonna sort of sort you out by not getting the morning coffee out. I've always been super bearish on that.
I think when you spend, what a coffee at Starbucks can be like, dude, you can spend a lot of money on this.
Yeah, well, like coffee here, a flat white in London is probably like £3.80, £4.
Yeah,
I'd say that's like, it's not it is quite outrageous actually when you think about it, because if I was to get a pot of coffee, I don't know how cheap you could go. I like instant coffee, by the way. I just drink instant coffee. I really like instant coffee.
I agree.
So I just buy I don't know what you can get. Maybe instant coffee is probably like £3.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of coffee when I have my instant coffee. So I don't know how many I get out of a whole purchase of like a whole thing. It would probably be like, I don't know, not 30, maybe 25. Yeah, probably like 30 coffees,
30 coffees, yeah.
30 coffees. And then I'm paying.
So in reality, you're
30
saving
for
a lot
the price
if you
of
put
one.
The thing is, if you put that £500 into starting a new venture and that new venture kills it, fair play.
True.
True. But
what about the time lost making all those coffees every day?
Yeah.
In terms of like an hourly rate,
time,
Naval,
money.
If his hourly rate when he was so young was 5,000, he said 5,000 for an hour. And he's making coffees every day.
That was his hourly rate.
He just said that to himself.
Oh yeah.
To stop doing menial tasks that were taking away from his day.
Indeed. Indeed. Anyway, on the show, we're just waiting. Alexandros, can you hear us?
Oh, good. Can you see me?
Yes, can see you, hear you, and you are live on ETN. How's it going?
Awesome. Yeah, very happy to be here. I was actually in the dark before and just listening to you guys have a coffee chat. And I was like, is this going to start at some point or how does that actually work? But
sorry to bore you with our coffee chat. We went off on a little bit of a tangent.
We're talking about coffee
on our coffee chat.
Integral part of the European tech scene. So
no, it is. It is. Yeah.
Exactly. Alexandros, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
It's probably worth we usually ask our guests, could you give us a bit of an intro, background about you and then your company, Fagos, and then we can go from there. We've got a bunch of questions.
Awesome. Yes, please. So thanks again for having me. I'm one of the two co-founders of the company with Adele. Co-founded this about 5 years back, and I'm the CEO, she's the CTO. Our mission is to end bacterial disease. So this is with all humility, but we try to have a big ambition here. And you might ask why, right? And basically, it's one of the biggest challenges to humanity, bacterial disease. It's the second leading cause of death for humans. It's a top leading cause of death for animals as well, billions killed every year. It's creating hundreds of billions of dollars in food waste every year as well. And so that's just some examples, to name a few. So today, to control bacteria, it's mainly the antibiotics that are used, but they're reaching their limits. Today, increasingly more bacteria are becoming resistant to antibiotics. We have already 1 in 6 bacterial infections that are resistant in human health, and in animal health, you have 1 in 3 antibiotics that already fail. So if this, and by the way, the pace of this is it increases about 10 to 15% per year, at least in humans. This is a statistic we have. At this pace, in 15 years, we do not have any functioning antibiotics anymore, if you just stretch the line. This means modern medicine over. You have a little scratch, you need not to be infected. This might cause death or amputation. You cannot have standard surgery anymore, etc. So we're talking about a dystopic future where we basically go 100 years back and modern medicine is not there anymore. And we're trying to avoid that. And that's what we're doing at Fagos. So instead of using antibiotics to fight bacteria, we actually use their natural predator, which is called the bacteriophage. They predate on bacteria for billions of years already, super efficient at it. Every 2 days, they eliminate half of all the bacteria on Earth, and they're not used as a mainstream medicine today. One of the main reasons is that there's basically an infinity of them in the world. They're the most abundant biological entity on Earth, and they're also super precise. So it's like you need to find the right phage and put it at the right place at the right time in order to have a therapeutic effect, and that's super complicated. But with modern microbiology tools and also AI now, combining these two technologies, we can actually fast track the identification of top candidates for treatments, bacteriophage-based treatments. And this is what we do at Fagos. And I think that's pretty much a good intro. Maybe to give you also a spotlight, we're really specialized in animal health in the beginning. In volume, this is also where you have the most consumption. And we just raised a important Series A for our field, so 25 million euros a few months back. And we're the first company in the world to actually have an authorization to sell this thing as mainstream veterinary pharmaceuticals and personalized. So we found the way to be able to match phages and bacteria in different fashion at every instance of disease. And we don't have to request a new authorization every time, which was a massive blocker for the industry. This is on European soil. And so I just want to stress out as well, all the hate around European regulation. We are a counterexample. It can also work the other way around, and I'm very happy to announce it.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Dude, that introduction is nuts. That's crazy.
We should just let you speak for the rest of the time.
This is such a cool mission. I have so many questions.
Well, first of all, like solving that big of a problem, like I mean, obviously, like we operate in tech, so I guess we've kind of got our heads in the sand with this kind of stuff, maybe. But it seems like a genuine, like human level, world level problem that needs to be solved. Like, is there anyone else doing this? Is this like you guys like one of the first / the only company doing this? Is this, it seems pretty pivotal that you do solve it. Otherwise, 15 years, we're kind of screwed.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of an old technology if you really take it. And technology is probably not the right word. It's just like bacteriophages were discovered about 100 years back, but they were overtaken by antibiotics because they were so much easier to use. But now that they're losing efficiency, bacteriophages are coming back. And also now that we have these modern tools for using bacteriophages, kind of deploying their potential, they're back in the spotlight. So we're not the only company doing this. However, we're one of the rare companies doing this specialized in animal health. To give a magnitude of things, there are about 150 players in the world for phages, and you have about 20 of them specialized in veterinary, and we're one of them. What we do differently is being able to personalize the treatments for every challenge that we encounter. So we're in livestock animals. So in principle, every farm gets their own particular, we call it a cocktail of bacteriophages that is adapted to their particular infectious challenge. And it leaves the rest of bacteria alone. It's very, very targeted. And so we can selectively eliminate the pathogenic ones. And this is kind of a challenge because you need to scale personalized pharmaceuticals. So for sure, you need to have a super solid process in place from a biological standpoint, but also from predictive standpoint. And this is also where AI comes into play, so that in the lab, we don't have to test every combination, we can test the most promising ones. And this is what sets Phagos apart, because competitors or other players, they bet on, I would say, the most sensible way of doing this, which would be, okay, you try to put one solution together that is quite broad spectrum, and it's probably going to work for a certain proportion of cases. But in practice, it doesn't really, and also it reproduces the same mistakes as antibiotics did. So yeah, I didn't mention, but the reason why you have this resistance building is that bacteria, they're alive. So if you keep sending the same stuff to eliminate them, well, they fight back, they evolve. And this is the nature of life. So if you do the same with bacteriophages, you're not ending bacterial disease. You're just having a temporary fix for a minor proportion of the population. And this is not what we're looking for. Yeah, we're looking for like a long-term solution.
It's so interesting. It's so different to anyone else we've had on the show, which is why I'm just so fascinated by it. But what I was thinking in my head now is just like how is progress measured internally, right? Because I mean, like traditionally, if we talk to a company, they're like, "Oh, we've just hit X ARR, we've just hit like, this many signups."
Our teams have grown by 100 people.
Yeah. Like, I'd want to know, like, is it sort of like on a biological
gross cost kind of thing?
Yeah, but there's obviously like a research element to it as well.
Yeah. For sure. Can you guys still see me or hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm just not sure I can see you.
Frozen.
I think the screen's frozen.
I seem to have a camera issue here. Sorry, I'll just refresh.
Yeah, all good.
Oh yeah, you're.
We'll get him back in.
He's off. Quick word from Airwallex: leave outdated business banking behind. The all-in-one financial platform built for the pace of modern business. Go to airwallex.com.
You're back. We just did a quick ad read while you were
oh my God,
gone.
You guys are very efficient. I was expecting more coffee stuff now that we're finally free to discuss what you want. But
super quick ad read. Sorry. What I was saying was just, No, that's absolutely fine. I'd love to know, how is progress measured internally, right? Because there must be a research element to it as well. Because traditionally, a company's like, we're at this much ARR in we've hit $1 billion ARR in a week. That's kind of like the standard now for some reason. But we've raised this or we've done this.
That's what we've done.
But I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear the research side of things, right? Is there a sort of like a research roadmap that you guys have? Is how is that progress measured internally?
For sure, we do have a roadmap, and I'd say we're kind of ending the first phase of the roadmap. So back to how we measure success. What we want is to eliminate bacteria at first. So and then we want this to yield a positive clinical outcome, so a positive health outcome, let's say. So the first part of the story of the company was already, can we find phages? Do these phages eliminate the targets that we intend? Can we find the right targets that are in a big enough market that they would make sense to develop this whole technology around them? And can we actually eliminate them in the lab setting? So in the beginning, we just receive the bacteria and just try to find a solution against these. And by the way, the solution is just lying out there in nature. It's just so infinite in terms of probability. If you just pick up a random sample, you're not going to get it. So you need to orient also all your search around being able to find the phages you're looking for and being able to see them even if they're in a sample. So, I mean, there's quite a complexity to it. So once you just are able to already eliminate something in the lab, you need to translate this into a positive health outcome. So it's not only about it works in a very controlled environment, in a tube. It needs to work in an actual complex organism like an animal, or eventually, I hope, as well, like a human. And so there's a bunch of administration methods that you need to be able to put together. You need to understand how you're actually going to use this at scale in a commercial setting. It needs to be realistic. So I think for me, I would say there's 3 phases basically. So phase 1 would be this in vitro, in a tube. You need to have success. Then in vivo, so you need to show that you can heal a living being with this thing, maybe in a more controlled environment, like clinical setting or something where there's not a lot of disruption. And then the final stage is the reality. It needs to actually yield a positive outcome in a commercial setting of an operator that is going through a bunch of problems, and you're not specifically their priority. Of course, the disease is their priority, but they have a bunch of stuff they need to think about. There's a lot of uncertainty, and this is where you need to be successful. So we checked already stages 1 and 2, and now we're into stage 3, where we actually are in reality. We have already 1 million animals healed in France with our solutions. Yeah. So, and it went just in a few months, and it went super fast. And we see that we're actually making a positive health outcome for these living beings. This is actually working. And now we're also starting to generate revenue out of that. And now the whole next step of this is be able to scale. Okay, so personalized medicines at scale, and eventually, yes, we will come back to ARR as a measure of success for sure, because it means we're creating value for people, right? So, but there's 100%. A little bit of preparation before we can actually get to the ARR part.
No, of course. I mean, it sounds like you found PMF. Really, if the animals are being healed. I know it sounds weird, but in my mind, what animals were they? Because we were talking about cows are getting a lot of attention right now in the biohealth scene. Were they cows?
We did not start with cows. We started with the chickens and now in pigs, but we're going also for cows. Rest assured.
Hey, cows are the new thing. Cows are super hot right now. Cows are getting super hot.
Brendan's giving me advice, get a cow.
You should switch the conversations, guys.
I think Luke has a question. I'll stop talking.
I was going to ask about, so you obviously, the kind of end goal for this is to help humans, I guess. And obviously like that is like the dream. What's the thing that like once you've hit with, oh no, he's gone again.
We lost him. Connection issues.
Spectre, be the reason your fund was the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com.
You're back.
I was going to ask.
That was 3 seconds of break. What commercial could you run in this, interval? Okay, I just switched cameras. I'm really sorry for this. I don't know.
No, all good. All good.
First time.
I was going to ask. So yes, obviously humans are like the kind of golden ticket. That's what you want to go and do, and it would be amazing if you did. What is the kind of thing that once you've hit for the animals? So like once you say, okay, we've like nailed it. You know, you've helped 1 million animals. Now, is there a number that you have to hit to be able to then like, I guess, level up and go and attack the human problem, or what's that kind of like metric that you're looking for to then like flip and go, okay, now we can move on to kind of testing the human side? Or do you need like ARR from the animal business first to be able to go and attack that? What's the workflow there? Like how do you get to that solving of that problem?
I can see you guys have an investor background with the questions as well. But yes, in terms of pure number that we'd like to hit, we're talking billions of animals healed.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, there are basically 10 times more animals than humans on Earth. So in terms of magnitude, we're talking billions. And this is also a huge market. We're also talking tens of billions just for phages in some particular animal species. So it could be a business all by itself, only on animal health, very focused. But again, this is not the goal of the company. The goal of the company is to end bacterial disease. So what we do in animal health, it will also be applicable for any other life form, because fundamentally in the tube, what we do in the lab, if it's a bacteria that comes from an animal or a human or a plant or whatever you got, it's basically the same process of elimination in the tube. What changes is, of course, the whole business model, regulation around it, etc., and the administration method. But in principle, we're developing a universalizable technology that can be used in the future for any life form. And this is the reason why we created the company. So we stay focused in the beginning on animal health, and once we start hitting billions of animals healed, also the company, the technology will be so much stronger. All the data we will have gathered, all the experience will be unmatched, and we will be in a great technological stage that we're ready to take human health, at least from a purely technological standpoint. This is what we're looking for.
That's
create
nice
viability, show it works, then move to human.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there. It's nuts in terms of like that. I mean, as a standalone business, right? I mean, think about this, like the market of meat in general, right? Like farmers, right? Like anyone selling mass quantities of any of that animal is like, like I guess maybe it's counterproductive, because like if the aim is to keep them alive, and then I'm now using it as an example when they're killed to be eaten. Maybe I'm crossing wires in a way there. But what I'm saying is that could be incredibly valuable, right? Because you don't want to consume meat that's got diseases, right? Like that's a multi-billion-dollar market.
And also you have, so this is a $2 trillion market, just animal production, 2 trillion.
Wow.
And there's about 20% of that is lost to disease every year. So this is the magnitude of the pain we're looking at, and that the market potential we're looking at, and that's just animal health, and that's just, by the way, production animals. Then you also have like domestic animals. I mean, this is a whole other world, a parallel world, and then still. We don't want the company to just be an animal health company for the future. We want to bring a technology that actually saves us from coming back 100 years and having no modern medicine available anymore. So this is our goal.
Yeah. I wanted to ask a bit. So you founded Phagos back about 5-ish years ago, maybe a little bit less. And I don't know how much AI was kind of like within that process, and ask about AI. Obviously, I feel like you kind of have to in this scenario. How is it within the workflows and the research integrated within the process in Phagos and finding these breakthroughs that you're kind of constantly trying to find?
I mean, there was a lot of great place, great time in the story of Fagos. Like 5-ish years ago, there wasn't the Chat GPT moment. It was before that. There wasn't Gen AI. There was none of that. And today, it's integral part of how we actually do inference. But back then, it was an intuition that without being able to predict well using, it was more classical machine learning, but still we do a lot with that already in terms of predictivity. We had to integrate it from the beginning. This was in the vision of the company from the beginning. Still, Adele, she's a molecular microbiologist, so she's not specialized in AI, and I'm an entrepreneur and in the tech field. So we had to also build this AI function from scratch in the company. And yeah, we have a great team that was able to take on this challenge. And by the way, I just want to take this opportunity, quick parenthesis. I know some people in the company are actually watching us right now. So I want to say a big shout out and yeah, thanks so much for all the awesome work. Like we don't get to say thanks in public a lot, but this is only possible because we're able to find the best people around to tackle this challenge. And so yes, it's AI, but it's also a diversity of departments working together from the field, actually being in the farms and collecting all the stuff we need, that is the raw material, to actual production of the drugs, and going with bioinformatics and operations in the lab, and microbiology and molecular microbiology. So I think the diversity of the team as well is what made a huge difference in our capacity to move super fast. And all the departments are extremely important, and the diversity of these departments working together, I think, is also what's making a fundamental difference for this company to work.
That's so sick, dude.
Cool, dude.
Congratulations to you and the Fagos team. You guys are killing it. Keep
Thanks, guys, for having us.
Yeah, with everything that's going on, and yeah, welcome to come back on the show whenever. I'd
love it, guys, and keep on going as well. I love that we don't only have American content for this, even though it's great content as well. But I love that you guys are taking this with the brute force, starting from zero and just saying, okay, we're doing now the European podcast version. So yes, please keep going as well. I'm very happy to be back.
We appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Good stuff. Really nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming
on.
See
you soon. Bye.
Awesome. What a sick mission. What a legend as well.
Sick mission.
Very,
very cool guy.
A legend. That was so interesting. I love it when we sometimes we get these like sort of mission critical ones that come on.
Yeah, so you have these. Like, I mean, not that the founders who are like talking about ARR aren't mission critical. I'm not saying.
No, of course
saying
they are.
You're saying that.
Increasing shareholder value is mission critical. Like,
is number one.
I'm not saying that's not true.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Spore Bio.
But
right?
it's really
like,
cool.
It's just like the bio.
You can talk to these people that you're like, dude, you're like, you are really doing something that is actually going to like genuinely help humanity.
Yeah. I think that's really cool.
It's really cool. So kudos to them. Kudos to
I really
team.
thought they would have done some tests on cows after I went a little cow.
They're going to do it. After your advice, they'll get on it. Anyway, should we jump back into the town square while you're finding the next tweet?
Yeah.
A little bit about Polymarket, the world's largest prediction market. Stay informed and profit from your knowledge. Go to polymarket.com.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, jumping into the town square, what's going on? There's been a lot of tweets actually about
cigarettes recently.
Yeah, so we started with coffee, now we're going to cigarettes. We're really Euro-maxing cigarettes with 20 grams of protein in them. This has been a thing for a while, but Vanessa has resurfaced it a few days ago. It's got almost 530,000 views, 445 bookmarks, which is pretty good.
Yeah,
I still don't know if I would smoke if it had 20 grams of protein.
Yeah, it's not. I think it's more for the smokers who don't want to quit. Maybe I don't think it's. I don't think they're trying to bring in smokers.
Because they're trying to retain their smokers. They're trying to,
But is that a quick? How long does it take you to smoke a cigarette? probably the same amount of time it would take you to eat a protein bar, to be fair.
I don't know. I think you could like really
Chug it down there if you
really
wanted
chugged
to.
it.
Yeah, I guess
It would go down.
maybe it's like it's the protein bar for the non-healthy. Maybe that's a good marketing slogan
There you go.
for them.
You heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
Fun times. Another more. Are you off the screen?
Yeah, I think I'm pressed.
This tweet was great from
There we go.
Krista Moltisanti. It's the one further down. He's called Claude. He's a French guy. I'm gonna wait. He's called Claude. He's a French guy who lives on your phone and tells you what to do, like Napoleon.
Yeah, I think I saw this guy pop up.
I've seen
hold
a
on,
few
I'm
of
trying
these
to
memes. These are great.
share that.
Just over 400,000 views, 990 bookmarks, of which one of them was me.
I was checking. Can I, if I press my X thing here, is that showing it? Yeah.
Are we showing?
All right. I press it and it doesn't. It's not. Doesn't jump.
We're good.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
I'm going to do it again. He's called Claude. He's a French guy.
No, you got to do it. You
who
got to do
lives
it in
your
an
phone.
Italian like. Is Chris Monasani over here, or whatever his name is? You got to do it in like an Italian.
You know, well, I was going to do it
Go
in a
on.
French accent. I don't really want to do that.
You don't have it in you.
Go on.
No, I can't. I asked you.
Yeah, well, there you go. Next
come
one.
on.
That's super funny. We can do it. We can do it when we're off air. We'll practice and then come back to it.
Yeah, let me go back to host and just see if my stream
Stream deck
Maneuvery thing.
is happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh wait, no, that now goes to hosts. Yeah. Okay, maybe that is.
Apparently it's
just
not
a bit lagged.
working. I'm doing it for you. Okay, now let's actually go into the Elon Musk joking about buying Ryanair. Marcus, if you can see that on the timeline, just give us a thumbs up.
Well,
in the town
I get it
square.
up, and then we can share it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Elon Musk
nice.
jokes about buying Ryanair to install a Ryan CEO. The back and forth started when Ryanair CEO Michael O'Leary, that's his name,
So funny.
rejected Starlink Wi-Fi for its high cost and fuel drag, calling Musk clueless about airlines, which is an awful take. Musk hit back by calling O'Leary an idiot who should be fired, then quipped about buying Ryanair for $35 billion to put a Ryan in charge. Filled with memes from Ryans applying for the job, like comedian Ryan Long in pilot gear, while prediction markets peg real purchase odds at just 9 to 12%. Ryanair focuses on cheap fares without frills, staying quiet as the banter buzzes on. Ryanair, the actual account has been like going at it as well.
Yeah, the
which is hilarious.
Ryanair account is like a meme account. Like they're known for like being fully memey.
But one of Elon's tweets, which was a poll, and it said, "Buy Ryanair and restore Ryan as their rightful ruler. F yes or no." I'm going to see F yes was 76%. Which is quite hilarious. 35 million views as well, which is actually
I'm forgetting the
wild.
original sort of like, so Ryanair, so there was a tweet of, this is when Musk mentioned the Ryan thing, but that was like, someone tweeted out, what is a propaganda that you're not falling for? And then Ryanair quote tweeted it saying Wi-Fi on planes. Then Musk comes back and says, how much would it cost to buy you? And he follows up again with, I really want to put a Ryan in charge of Ryanair. It is your destiny. But we kind of joked about it on the show for a bit earlier.
Anyway, moving
Anywho.
on. I believe we have Madeline in on the show. Madeline, can you hear us?
We can see you. Can we hear you?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay,
Yes.
amazing. I think
And you're live
we're,
on ETN.
we're live. Yeah, we are. We're just checking. Yeah, we're live. Okay, let's play the trumpets. Oh, I can't hear the trumpets.
Am I also live?
Yeah, you're live as well.
You're live.
We're live
How's
right
it going,
now.
Madeline? Nice to meet you.
It's pretty big shoes to fill to come post Ryanair, like my favorite brand of all time right there.
Yeah, we're just going covering the whole Musk trying to put a Ryan in charge of Ryanair.
I mean, is he wrong?
I don't know. I kind of back it. I mean, it is called Ryanair. I honestly thought the founder of Ryanair was called Ryan.
Someone
I think it's
tweeted and said,
Declan Ryan, right?
I don't know. Who was it?
I don't know. You're
The
right.
founder of Ryanair.
Declan
Wait, let me
Ryan,
check.
I'm pretty sure. Let me
Is
look
it?
this
Wait,
up.
hold on. Let me look.
O'Leary.
Ryan,
Michael
CEO.
O'Leary.
Oh, Michael O'Leary.
Yeah. Is the CEO of Ryanair.
Well, who's okay, but the founder
Or
might
Martin
be
O'Leary.
founder of Ryanair.
Tony Ryan and Christopher
Tony Ryan and Christopher Ryan.
There you go.
Okay. That kind of kills my buzz a little bit, not gonna lie.
That
But,
kills it.
oh well.
Okay, yeah, okay, no, Declan Ryan is in finance. Fuck it.
Okay.
Way
Not
too Irish.
Declan
Not
Ryan.
Declan Ryan.
Look, we're
Declan
all
does
getting it
not-
wrong. We're
does
all
not
getting it wrong.
Ryanair.
But
Anyway,
enough about Ryanair. Let's
move
talk
on.
about you. Let's talk about Aikido's security. We have been buzzing for this conversation. And I don't even know where to start. Usually we ask guests to introduce themselves, who you are, what do you do, what is the company. Maybe that would be a good place to start first. But we've got a bunch of questions that I'm pumped to get into.
Sure. I'm Madeline calling in from San Francisco, bright and early.
It's
my
so
God.
early for you.
No way.
Super early.
We've
It's
done it
good.
again.
I'm still
This is the
super jet
third
lagged, so
show.
it keeps me fresh.
I did say we would not brush our hair in solidarity.
Yeah. Well, I
put
kind of
out-
tied it back to like hide the mess, and I was like, let me put on big earrings so you can't focus on it. Yeah, no, that's it. I've got messy hair. I've got a lot of cats. I'm CGO of Aikido. I was in venture for a long time. I was a partner to fund for this, and I'm a huge fan of Ryanair.
Absolutely love that. What an intro.
Amazing stuff.
Okay, we love that. First of all, how's it been since the raise? Europe's newest unicorn. That's kind of exciting.
Kind of massive.
Pretty
deal.
massive. I've also got a question for what's happened before this, which involves your pitch deck. But let's just hear about what happened before the raise. How was the raise? How was the announcement? How did it all go?
Yeah. The raise it's big news. I mean, I think also having a background in venture, like working in that for pretty much my entire career before Aikido, you get scared when you raise money. Like that's when you're like, oh no, this is when the hard part starts, rather than it being just a matter of celebration. I think what was really sweet was we had to keep it pretty much under wraps because we had closed the round before the New Year's. I was like, well, I'm not going to be the last unicorn of 2025. I'm going to be the first of 2026. Right. So even though we had like our big, full 190 all of our team members all together in Belgium for like our end of year team meeting, it was maybe the worst kept secret in Belgium, but I will say like, thank you to Belgium for keeping your mouth shut and allowing us to break the news and build the momentum. And a lot of the team member didn't know until around 3 hours before I told everybody. So it was very, very sweet. And for the rest of it, yeah, it's kind of funny because when you're in coming from venture where you can kind of get in wherever you need to, especially when it was seen as like a flashy career years ago, to going back to like a very small startup or going to a very small startup, you're kind of like constantly fighting for a seat at the table. And I could kind of feel just after that one announcement, like everybody that we had been chasing just comes right back in your own DMs and you're like, they always come back. But,
Well.
That's
Look who's
a
come
good
crawling
feeling,
back.
isn't it? It's good.
yeah. And then you're like, oh, hey, nice to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cold
There's still a
DMing
bit of
people when I was like 21, and now a few years later, having started ETN, it's like, oh, you're doing so well with ETN. It's like, yeah, dude, reply to me like
reply to the
3
first
years
message,
ago,
buddy.
Yeah.
I did get one pretty funny text because my WhatsApp hygiene is my WhatsApp is a fucking dumpster fire. I got one really funny text that was literally like, fuck you for the radio silence. Congrats, but fuck you for the radio silence. Excuse my language. I was like, oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's so good.
A fair shot.
Yeah, ours are a mess actually. I was chatting to someone last night and they were like, oh yeah, sorry, I messaged you on my personal WhatsApp, not my business WhatsApp, and it made me realize like we should probably get a business WhatsApp as well as a personal WhatsApp. 'Cause mine's just a mess.
Boring.
You think just throw it all in one bag and just mix it up?
Just throw it in one
Yeah.
bag.
Yeah.
It's like you
It's a lot
gotta
of
live on the
context
edge.
switching.
Like 3 a.m., you're a bit tipsy. Like, is this the right person I'm texting? You never know.
Yeah.
That's what keeps it
Yeah.
interesting.
Exactly.
I love that.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, I have another question that's more Aikido focused, but it's about the No BS brand. Corporates are scared to go near it. You aren't. Aikido isn't. I also saw in the pitch deck there was a bunch of like meme posts and like I want to say S-word posts. Like, Luke and I are prohibited to swear on the show, but our guests are very allowed to swear, so don't you worry. All guests, or most guests swear. Luke and I have an agreement that we do not swear, so I will say S-word posts instead of what it is traditionally called. But can you maybe just tell me more about the No BS brand and this kind of like, it's kind of like a new media vibe of like marketing for enterprise companies in a weird way, which I obviously love it. So yeah, we'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. I think all brands, like I think ultimately what brand is brand is personality, and it's the expectation that you have created towards your customers, which is why, I mean, I'm going to not give too much more oxygen to Ryanair. I think they have the perfect brand, because if you say, you know, what do you think the brand is of Ryanair? Like, what do you think their promise is to customers? People say cheap. And that's, you know, a perfect message. Nobody will ever say anything else. And you know that they will do absolutely anything in order to ensure the lowest rates for their customers, including but not limited to, you know, removing bathrooms. And so it's the personality and it's the promise you have towards your customers. And I think our brand of being, you know, no bullshit security, being a little bit sexy, being really ruthlessly loyal to developers. We are security that's not, you know, for security's sake, but we have one mission, and that's to get developers back to building. And that is just such a derivative from the personality of my team, also from our other co-founders, right? Willem, who is our CTO and also our CEO. This is his 4th SaaS company. He, you know, when you're the CTO and co-founder of an SMB or a SaaS company, if it doesn't have, you know, mega bucks, you don't have a security team. It's the CTO figuring it out, and maybe like a poor VP engineering having to carry that weight. And at least all the devs on my team, which is more than half of our team, all they want to do is build fun features. Like, they don't want to have to like security platform and like chase false positives and do any of that stuff. And it's like, you try to, you know, I don't know if you've seen the inside of these tools, but it looks like the inside of like an F-16 cockpit. You need like a degree in security to understand anything. And so our brand really came from like, you know, me listening to Willem constantly being like, devs just want to build fun features. Like, these things make you feel dumb. And I'm like, this is such emotive language. And I'm like, so let's use that. Like, I'm not going to then sit here and be like, an end-to-end purpose-built platform to secure modern software engineering teams, you know? If I said that, like, he would literally be like, what does our website say? Like, I think I speak English, but I don't understand anything. And then it helps that it also fits the personality of Roland, who's our other co-founder, who's very like, you know, very like Belgian workman, like two beers in the hand, like get the things done. And then of course it does also fit my personality as well, which is, you know, the best way to make a point, even if it is a very critical point, is I think to wrap it with humor. Nobody ever wants to be lectured, but people do. You know, if you say something that's like pretty true and kind of a roast, they'll be like, yeah, fair play. And people, you know, want to have fun, and they want to, you know, they want to be invited to be like, you know, what's this experience going to be? I don't just want to be lectured. And so that's where the brand Aikido came from. And luckily it's worked. We will continue to make sure that we stay true to who we are. Though we are having to scale into the enterprise, and I've had to maybe adjust the no bullshit in some places. It's still very much there, and we're bringing the fun in other ways.
Yeah. I think like, you've done such an amazing job on.
That's so refreshing, by the way.
Yeah, which is so cool to hear, and it's super paralleled with that article that went viral recently in the Wall Street Journal that like enterprise companies are hiring storytellers for the brand. Like they're I think it was Vanta that was mentioned in the post were paying $275,000 for a professional storyteller to come in. I'm not sure what the specific title of that person is, but it's essentially you know, a method in which to stand out from the noise. Which like that phrase that you just said then, like we're the end-to-end solution for like XYZ, or like we're the single source of truth for XYZ, or like you've obviously come from like the VC. I'm not sure how many pitch decks you probably reviewed that were the similar, like the copy was probably all the same, right? And it's very, very homogenous in the enterprise space. I think more and more we're seeing brands really try to stick out in the crowd, like Ramp being a good example of them. Airwallex are doing a great job at it. Like Lovable is probably another good example with like the hackathons, like $1 million prizes and all this kind of new age like marketing strategies. But it's a general shift away from this sort of like traditional way of marketing a company, right? And like I think that your no BS brand, like that as a quote in itself, is a really good sort of like, it kind of encapsulates this whole transition really well. So I'd say do more of it. Don't dumb it down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and Venture was a great playground for me to cut my teeth on that. I mean, I think my personal brand in Venture was, I'm making rich men richer is how I described it.
We have that down
in your LinkedIn bio, which we found hilarious.
Yeah. Because everybody's like, I'm investing in Paradigm leaders in order to like back the visionaries of tomorrow. And I'm like, hey, I'm making returns for my LPs. Nice to meet you. Like, I hope, you know, and then it makes the conversation with founders so different, because it's not like your ideas and visionaries. I'm like, hey, genuinely, you can probably make a lot of money on this and it's a great business, but like, I can't probably make enough returns for my 150 million fund. And so cut through the bullshit kind of a thing. Sorry.
That's so good. No, it's so good. I love it. And like, it seems like it's found its way into, you know, the heart of Aikido's brand as well. Like that the no BS stuff.
It's like you just really know what you want, and therefore you.
Well, it's like I always feel like the trust is eroded when you kind of feel like maybe the opposite side is holding something back, and it doesn't have to be something bad. It could be something, I don't know. If there's a sense of like something's, all the cards aren't on the table in a weird way, then I feel like the guardrails will usually be up. But I think this no BS sort of strategy is. I mean, like it's like I want to get like I'm making. I think the quote is. Money into bigger money, which is like so awesome. But that is true, and that is just straightforward and it's honest, right? I think that's really cool, and people could maybe learn from that as well.
Yeah. Do you think that's going to happen more in like? I've talked to you quite a lot about the 2026 predictions, and a lot of them were saying that, yeah, as you were saying, it's like storytelling is like so integral now to, especially to like early stage companies where they're building their foundation. And so, you know, maybe it's a little bit harder for like a Vanta to kind of change their, I guess, way of doing something because they're just so far down the line. But what would you have, like, I guess, advice-wise for kind of younger founders or founders who are starting their companies and they're early in the journey of understanding exactly, like, you know, do you go down the customer route and understand your ICP and exactly what they want and therefore change your messaging to that? Whereas you could also go down like your personal route, and, you know, you've mentioned that the Aikido brand is very much like, you know, you and your and the founders of the company. So like, what's the best way of like going about it? Like, or is there a one size like fits all?
Of how to find your story or how to approach storytelling? How
to approach it? How to approach your brand building?
Yeah. This is a question I get a lot, and it almost feels like, you know, like is the brand in the room with us now? It's like this sort of elusive, intangible thing. Or people are like, I don't have a story. And I'm like, then why did you start a company? That doesn't make a lot of sense to it. So, you know, by definition, you have a story because you gave up financial stability and, you know, a more secure career path, and something either bothered you enough or got you excited enough to go through the hassle of a notary to pursue it. So there must be a story there. I think ultimately where it starts is looking at the wider shift of it's never been easier to build. So it's never been easier to be the same as everybody else. I mean, you can, you know, when you go on a website, you're like, this is vibe coded. And like, I got to get rid of the color purple because that's also just become the color of like, this is, anybody can build this. And so in a world where anybody can build anything, you need to be so incredibly sharp as to why what you're building is different. And if I can, within, you know, one weekend with a lot of coffee and maybe some other things, build exactly what your software does, what affinity do I have towards yours over what I'm going to build myself, or yours towards your, you know, exact replica of a competitor? It needs to be a sharper value proposition. It needs to speak to me more as a user and as a customer. And I think you start by remembering that, like, one, if you've started a company, you already have a story. You don't have to like falsify one, or, you know, go on a big long walk without your cell phone for 4 days in order to like find your epiphany. And it can be as simple as like, hey, yeah, like security really pissed me off, and like I just wanted to build fun features, and I really didn't like that as a CTO I was responsible. Like, that's all. It's not very visionary. It's like, hey, we should probably fix this. And two, that the people that you are selling to are not budgets. The budget, like if you're selling to a budget, then it's like end-to-end purpose-built platform for blah, 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 blah. Ultimately, the people behind those budgets are people. And so, yeah, absolutely. Who are they? What do they watch? What do they love? You know, there's a security is unique, but I think every industry is, when you know it well enough, that has a very particular subcultures and multiple subcultures. There's a lore, there's a backstory. There's a lot of people that love metal music, for example. There's like a few like movies and books, like the love of the Matrix, or the cult of the dead cow, or the anarchist cookbook. I have no idea what these things are, but you come to speak to them and they're like, these are these really, foundational parts of the industry. Or for devs, it's just like, I just don't want to do this. And so one, you already have a story. So just what is it? Even if it feels really banal and really simple, just repeat that ad nauseum and keep your brand as close to possible to who you are and how you actually speak. And two, people are people, speak to them as such. And build a company for the people who are going to use your software or be the customers of your company, and not just for the budgets. And that's really it. There's not too much of a magic formula. Just be different. Otherwise, you will die.
That point you mentioned. Sorry to cut you off there, but that point you mentioned there was like the not like the cult-like stuff, but like the kind of the memes within the cult-like followings, right? Like the you only know it because you're in that type of stuff. Like I think that we're starting to see a lot more enterprise companies like compete for that narrative or try to get in front of their customers in different ways, or this sort of like attention-grabbing economy that we're in at the moment. And it's like your point is so interesting because it does seem to me that the ones who are winning are the ones who are doing that well. So like Ramp's one where they had the guy from The Office, what's his name? Kevin from The Office in a booth, like doing like these like receipts, like these personal like corporate like receipt sort of management tasks. And that was really funny because like, I mean, The Office isn't like a niche thing, but people knew that they probably took effort into making sure that was like parallel to their business, and it worked quite well, and it was a good storytelling thing, and it was like sort of like guerrilla marketing, right? It wasn't like traditional let's launch an ABM campaign at these people, right? It was very different. And I love that, like, I think you've nailed it there with what you're saying. It's like, again, I'm just seeing how all this is tied together with like the pitch deck and the memes and the no BS stuff. It's really cool. I have one more question to ask in terms of like you and your background, and I guess like how this is working together, and then another one on your role as well as like Chief Growth Officer. Straight off the bat, like what is Chief Growth Officer? What does that mean for like enterprise companies today, and like how does that tie into what the company is doing today and like the future of the company as well?
I have no idea what Chief Growth Officer means, and when I do, I'll let you know. I don't think we're too title-minded. Like, I'm good at growth. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at being seen and heard and getting Aikido seen and heard on the global stage. That's what I do with Aikido. I work with an amazing team. We're 190 people strong. Our sales team and engineering team would be, the largest, and then our marketing and growth team, which is pretty much a conjoined team. We're a marketing-led company. So it's, build pipeline, get seen, create that promise to customers, deliver that personality, build those relationships. And then if I were to say it in a less fluffy way, it's build pipeline and be known.
Yeah. Sick.
That's and do it awesome. In any way that you can, I guess, which is cool.
Yeah, by any means necessary, pipeline.
Indeed.
I like that. That is like the motto of the Chief Growth Officer.
What was the thesis behind going from venture to, to being in a startup? What was that?
To cybersecurity of all places. I was the first investor Aikido pitched to way back when. Willem, who's our CTO and CEO, was a scout for my fund. He was a really bad scout, and so he pitched Doomsday or Aikido to me with Felix and Roland, and I was like, interesting. And I was actually going to join them initially, so way before incorporation. But at that point, I was like, what about my career ladder in venture? And I just made some big steps up. And so I was like, no. And I kind of regretted it. And then maybe like exactly a year went by after I said no to kind of joining on the founding team. And I was like, fuck, I should have done that. And I quit. I just quit my job in venture because I was like, I cannot stand a single day more of caring about what other people are doing. I really can't, because your business is literally and figuratively other people's business. It is, I have to invest in this company and that company needs to be successful, or I need to care about what all my other friends in venture are looking and seeing. I have to be in their business. And I was like, I just cannot pretend to care anymore. And I was going to take like a year off. And then the same day, Willem texted me, and I just never looked back. I literally made flashcards. I had 300 flashcards of all different cybersecurity terms because I was like, I have no idea where I'm going. But and within 2 weeks, cool. I like moved to Belgium with my little flashcards and my cats, and I never looked back.
There you go. Sick. With the cats as well. Awesome thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. We have to have you back on as well. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, likewise, guys. Have
and
a good one.
Congrats on the raise as well. Bye.
Bye.
Peace. So good. Up next
on the show, we have Peter Fuller. Can you hear us? Yes.
Amazing.
Let's go. We're just waiting for our producer to give us a thumbs up that we are live.
We'll be moving your face onto our screen so all our lovely viewers and listeners can hear at home.
Yeah, because we can, they can't. Just give us a sec. How's your morning been? Or your afternoon, morning and afternoon? Yeah, I bet.
Right now, as you know, so yeah, definitely a hectic morning.
Yeah. Indeed. And we'll touch on the. We're just waiting. Marcus, are we good? We're good. You're live.
Live and direct.
Amazing stuff. Well, look, congratulations on the launch, and thank you very much for joining us. I know it's only short. It's probably worth just saying who you are, what's Tracelight, and then we can go from there. And obviously, what you guys have launched.
For sure. So I'm Pete. I'm the CEO and one of the co-founders of Tracelight. Very briefly, Tracelight is the best AI add-in to Excel for complex financial modeling. So we founded the company kind of mid 2024. We launched the product publicly about 6 months ago now, and today we are launching 1.0. So we're announcing a kind of big version bump of the product.
Let's go. Nice.
Awesome.
And what does that product update, I guess, or full product update? What does that entail? What are you guys releasing specifically?
Yeah, totally. So primarily our users are consultants and bankers and investors, people building big, nasty, complex financial models, right? And they use, you can think of Tracelight a little bit like Cursor in Excel, right? So they will prompt Tracelight in natural language, and Tracelight will go build their financial models for them. We also have ways of automating their repeat workflows in Tracelight, and kind of also error checking their models. So the idea is that they will build their models much faster, but those models will also be more accurate. And really, we've been building up this product and building up the features over the last few months, and kind of what we're seeing now is that our users are consistently hitting a completely new level of performance in Excel, right? It's an enormously exciting time to be in our category. And, this is not really a product for the early adopters anymore. This is actually now a product for the mainstream. And so all of this is why we decided to go 1.0 today.
So cool.
That is nuts.
I've got a quick, so in the modeling world, I guess traditionally the customers sit within legacy institutions in a way, investment banks that have been around forever that aren't we hate technology. They're obviously very open to getting any competitive edge that they possibly can. But and maybe I'm completely wrong, I don't really know, but technology adoption cycles there, or selling into those industries as a startup in quotation marks. What's that like? Because I imagine that's traditionally could be quite hard, right?
Especially at the beginning.
Well, it is. Of course it's hard. It's hard, but it should be hard. Right. I kind of often think, people complain about long sales cycles with these customers. And often I just think that's the market doing its job, right? I don't think these customers should be the type of people who are just always picking up random experimental technology and trying things, right? Their work is enormously consequential and they get paid millions of dollars to do it, right? So I would also be quite risk averse if I was them. At the same time, what we're seeing is every big company now has a serious AI procurement effort, right? This is not everyone does it. So actually there is quite a lot of impetus, and people are getting quite organized now about, ways that they can sandbox and trial new products. So you don't necessarily have to go through months and months of, the full IT approvals before people can actually even start trying it. So some people are getting much better at that. But yeah, the short answer is sales cycles are long. You have to earn your trust, but that's as it should be.
Yeah, that's awesome.
When you are onboarding, say you're onboarding an investment bank, is it per team, or is it switched on and then the floodgates are open?
You definitely go per team typically, right? So there are power curves of users, and that exists within organizations as well. There will be teams and there will be people even within those teams who are particularly wanting to try things, and those are the people that you should start with. And obviously those people then become advocates for your product, and you spread out through the organization, right? So we do typically start smaller and then roll out from there.
Okay, nice.
And this, like, we've had Sauraj, who was like the founder of ElevenLabs, come on the show before, that were doing like modular, like foundation level models for, I think, like tabular data sets.
Tabular data.
Yeah. And when we were researching that show a while back, and I can see like parallels within this as well. Like it's traditionally been a very hard thing to do comparatively to like just standard like LLMs, like agentic workflows within tabular data sets is incredibly difficult. I'd love to ask like what, like you guys have chosen a super hard thing to do. I'd love to know why. I'd love to know why you've chosen a hard mission.
Well, look, partly that's because my co-founders are geniuses, right? So we were actually deliberately trying to find hard problems, right? So Alex was from Jane Street, and Yannick was actually one of the founding engineers at 11x and was a machine learning researcher before that. So we definitely felt it had to be a hard problem that we were tackling. But also, like, you know, now is the right time, right? So Excel or spreadsheets with LLMs, that is definitely LLMs that's hard mode, right? Like spreadsheets are not really language, right? These things are like built for language. You have this kind of two-dimensional structure, and you have to solve all of those things. We do all of that kind of under the hoods to manipulate these spreadsheets into a representation that the LLMs can understand. But that's really fun. We love the hard technical work, right? And you know, the progress in the LLMs has just been absolutely enormous. Like when we first were doing this, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but like, it was kind of funny. Like the outputs were like kind of bad, like quite a lot of the time. And now more recently, especially with Opus 4.5, like it's crazy.
Yeah, that's cool. I was going to ask about when you're, so obviously like, we've talked a bunch to a few investors and then some founders about like more people kind of getting into like rolling up companies and doing their own kind of like deals and all of that kind of stuff. As the product gets better, and obviously like you've launched like I guess the second thing, or TraceLight 1.0 for TraceLight. What's the kind of like end goal here? Is it that anyone can go and build a financial model and do their own deals if they want to go and do that, or they can go and get a job in an investment bank and you're never going to need to learn to write a function or anything? What's the kind of like end goal for this? Because I see a lot of people being like, oh my God, my job's gone.
So I actually have a different view on that, right? So cool. So the end goal for us actually is that we'll be the place where our customers work with AI on all of their tasks, right? We're not going to be just an Excel add-in forever. You know, it's funny, in many cases, we are literally, apart from maybe ChatGPT Enterprise, we're often literally the first LLM-powered product through the door for many of these people. And like, the scope of the opportunity is just absolutely ginormous, right? And we want to be the people who do that, right? In much the same way that companies like Harvey and Legora have done so for law. Yeah. You know, I think that's coming for consulting and banking, right? Yeah. So, you know, and then actually for us, I think it goes a step further, right? So our customers are kind of special. So our customers are basically paid to solve the biggest problems that businesses have, right? That is fundamentally their job. So actually, you know, if you build like vertical AI for our customers, you're actually not just building vertical AI, right? You're building a very fundamental application, which is helping businesses to solve like their biggest problems. And I think in the limit, that's what we want TraceLight to be, right? We think businesses everywhere are working super hard and paying a lot of money to solve their biggest problems, and they need to figure out how to work with AI to do that. So I think in the limit, that's where we go.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So fascinating. Can I ask about like financials and stuff? Like you guys raised 3.6 million seed round in August 2025. What could you walk us through like the funding environment for this type of stuff? Like, I'd love to know more about what was the appetite like from the investor side?
Yeah, it's really fun. So we actually raised that round. We closed it probably March, April actually last year. Right. That's also really changed, right? It's funny. I had to spend a lot of time convincing people that like AI in Excel was going to be a thing, right? And people couldn't get past it. They're like, you're an add-in to Excel. You can't be a big deal. And I'm like, no, seriously, it's a big deal. Like, just like this add-in is actually doing the work. It's categorically different from all of the add-ins that have come before. And people are like, you know, some people are convinced, other people are not. And then our space got very loud, right? Around July, August last year. And I think the obvious truth became evident, which is like, yeah, this is clearly a thing. And just the same way that LLMs in coding are a thing, LLMs in financial modeling are a big thing as well. So we did manage to convince investors fairly early of something that later became obvious, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, we're beginning of 2026. You've just released this new, big product update. What are the plans for the rest of the year? Obviously, like, rolling this out to more and more management consultancy firms, investment banks, whatever, and then on and on. What's the kind of main goal for the year?
Yeah. So our goal is to become the vendor of choice in our category for the biggest institutional customers in our space, right? That's how we win the space. And like, we have made very, very significant strides there already. We're already working with a substantial fraction of, like, for example, the largest management consultancies in the world. There is a big difference between having getting in with one team or one practice in one geography with those customers and becoming the global vendor to those customers. And a lot of that is about partnership. So we actually do have a somewhat forward deployed motion in the company, right? We send engineers, we send go-to-market people into the offices of our customers. We build out their specific workflows in Tracelight. We onboard them manually, we train them, right? This is about transformation as well as just software. So that's going to be a huge focus for us this year, right? We're just super excited to kind of partner with our customers on that.
Oh yeah,
that's
awesome.
cool. That's so cool.
Just coming to time, is there anywhere we can send people? Like, what's the shill for the day? We know you've just launched. Like, where can we send our listeners and viewers?
Go to my LinkedIn, go to my Twitter, comment, like. We're also giving away a free month of pro tier membership of the product, so you can get that there.
Awesome. My protein membership, you say?
Pro tier. I think you heard protein, but
I think it said
this
my
guy,
protein.
This guy's juiced up.
Like, what?
He's juiced up on creatine.
Yeah.
He's just thinking about protein.
You got me excited. I'd have to sign up. Good stuff.
Well, Pete, thank you so much for jumping on. We really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. We'll see you soon.
Ciao.
Amazing stuff.
There you have it, folks.
Well, unfortunately, I won't get any protein, but
no protein for you, boy. Just
rough stuff.
Yeah, unfortunate.
Before we end the show, Spectre, be the reason your fund wins the deal of the decade. Go to tryspectre.com. That is the show. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you very much. We'll see you on Thursday for an even bigger one.
Indeed.
Mr. Klinger is joining us.